Shalom, 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 Israel. First off, giving all honor and praises to the Most High and His Son, Yahushua. Shabbat shalom to brothers and sisters that's watching online. Shabbat shalom to brothers and sisters that's in class. The name of today's class is Sifting Season, spiritually and physically. Sifting Season, spiritually and physically. Like we say, we periodically have to go strengthen brothers and sisters' spirits. You know, when we see brothers and sisters coming and going, brothers and sisters may have questions on those things, and questions just in general, even pertaining to why all camps are not together. I know a lot of times certain individualites, they struggle with that understanding. And like we said, we're going to kind of cover those bases. And the main thing is brothers and sisters got to make sure that they are being diligent to this ministry and to the walk and to keeping God's commandments. Those things are going to happen, like we said, as brothers and sisters get more and more and many years in the truth, you start to understand and you start to see why. So this is what being built up is all about, being able to be prudent on things that we see going on in the congregation and things that's going on in the nation of Israel ourselves. Because this just don't happen in this camp. It happened to IURC. Their brothers come and go from over there. Brothers come and go from Sons of Thunder, Sakari, many different camps, WFI, all these camps out here. You know, a lot of times certain brothers and sisters' spirit just don't bear witness and they may leave out. And like we say, we don't care if brothers gather here or there. We just want brothers and sisters to stay in the truth. Now, it is a way that you do those things, you know, by decency and in order, you know, but that's our main focus. And brothers got to have this understanding. Let's go to the book of Isaiah 53 and verse 1. Isaiah 53 and verse 1. We say, make sure, brothers and sisters, if you have any questions, make sure y'all write them down so we can take a mental note, or you can take a mental note after class to ask that question. When you get ready, I'll read that.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 53 and verse 1.
Uh-huh.
Who hath believed our report?
So this is the prophet Isaiah prophesying about Yahweh. Who had believed our report, meaning who had believed the things that's written in the Bible. There's many things that's written in the Bible that, guess what, people do not believe, especially brothers and sisters that are in Christianity. They don't believe that, guess what, Christ didn't do away with the laws. A lot of Old Testament Israelites don't believe that Christ is in the Old Testament. They're not believing the report. They don't believe that, guess what, spirits can hop on and off of brothers and sisters. They don't believe that, guess what, congregations must be in order. Read on up.
And to whom is the arm of the Lord revealed?
And the arm of the Lord is going into Christ. Who is Christ revealed to in these last days? Guess what? He's revealed to the brothers and sisters that are diligent, that are keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. That's, guess what? Striving for the kingdom. Because that is the ultimate goal in this thing. And we can never lose sight of that, man. Never lose sight of it. Let's go to 2 Timothy chapter 4 and verse 1. You know, we say spiritually and physically because even while we was in Houston last week, you know, me and Captain Yari, you know, we heard that one of our brothers that we grew up and went to school with, you know, he was murdered at a damn Little League football game. I mean, that's, hey, the Most High God is not playing out here, brothers and sisters. He's not playing, man. If you're not trying to come to this truth, trying to repent as an Israelite, the Most High God is sifting you out spiritually and physically. And if you're not diligent, even in the truth, guess what? He's going to sift you out spiritually. You have to be diligent in this walk. There's no way around it. Not putting off from Sabbath to Sabbath. Because like we said, when you congregate amongst brothers and sisters, it's a different type of spirit that you feel up in here than when you get from when you're watching on the TV or online. When you get there, read this, huh?
The book of 2 Timothy, chapter 4 and verse 1. I charge thee, therefore, before God.
Read that again, huh?
I charge thee, therefore, before God.
So we're being charged before the Most High God. Read on up.
And the Lord Yahushua, who shall judge the quick and the dead.
Read that again, up.
And the Lord Yahushua, who shall judge the quick and the dead.
Guess what? Christ is going to judge the quick and the dead. Meaning what? People that are in the grave, guess what? They're going to be resurrected back up to, guess what? Either to everlasting life or to everlasting damnation. Read on up.
At his appearing and his kingdom.
And his kingdom. Christ is setting up his kingdom. Guess what? All nations are going to flow unto it, but guess what? All nations is not going to rule with Christ, man. Brothers got to stop that nonsense. And it's Israelite camps out here that's teaching that now, man. And it's a sad thing, man. Brothers used to be strong in the spirit, man. Now we seeing them, guess what? Getting sifted out spiritually, man. We seeing it right before our eyes. So that's how we know that, guess what? The Bible is a true book. And there's no games to be played in these last days. Some of the strongest brothers you would ever want to meet, man. So if it can happen to them, it damn sure can happen to brothers and sisters that's not diligent, man. That's what we want to. That's the experience that, guess what, the Bible is giving us, so we can apply to our lives. Seeing those things, making you want to, guess what, go 10 times harder for the Lord in these last days. Read on up.
Preach the word.
Do what?
Preach the word.
And the Bible is commanding us, preach and teach the word. Read on up.
Be instant in season, out of season.
It says be instant, meaning what? At the drop of a dime, you got to be ready to, guess what, teach and preach. At the drop of a dime, in season, out of season. So if brothers is not diligent, if sisters is not diligent enough, guess what? You could get caught slipping. Whether, guess what, a spirit may jump on you and you don't know how to what? Go to the proper precepts to get those spirits up off of you. We always have to be instant in season and out of season in this truth, man. It's no days off. Like we always say, sometimes brothers and sisters may not pick up their Bible until we come to Sabbath class. And that's a damn shame, man. You should at least take out 30 to an hour, is however much you can give to, guess what? Read your Bible. That's how you get spiritually fed in this walk. Read on up.
Reprove.
Do what?
Reprove.
It's our job to, guess what? Reprove and to correct brothers and sisters that we see going off. Not having respect to persons. When brothers are struggling with certain understanding of the scriptures, guess what? It's our job to do what? Go precept upon precept. Because we'll find out one of the main reasons brothers and sisters get sifted out is because what? Not being diligent, because of certain doctrines, because of marriages, because of what? Not being on a steady foundation. Those are some of the main reasons brothers and sisters get sifted out. Brothers crept in unawares. We'll see that a lot of times. Brothers coming in like they all for the truth, but then they secretly trying to gather brothers unto themselves. Man, that's wicked as hell, man. And if we get catch wind of brothers doing that, man, guess what? We're going to rebuke before the whole congregation, man, because that's wicked as hell. Go out there, get it out of the mud, man. Let the Most High God gather brothers and sisters unto you, man, if you're doing a diligent work. Read on up.
Rebuke.
Rebuke. And it's our job to correct. Read on.
Exhort with all long suffering.
And it's also our job, once we rebuke, try to bring those spirits off of brothers, guess what? It's our job to also exhort brothers and sisters in this thing. Brother, just give me a call. I'm here for you, man. Hey, where you been at, man? You know, hey, we miss you up in the congregation. Hey, where your fringes at, brother? Brother, why you ain't growing that beard? Sister, why you only just wearing dresses when you come to Sabbath class? This is something that we are always on. That's how you exhort one another in this walk, man. We can't play the games. Yes, we break down, but guess what? We got to make sure that we're also building brothers and sisters back up. Don't just break brothers down and not build them back up and not build sisters back up, because that's not according to the Bible. Even according to Jeremiah 1:10 as well. Read on up.
Exhort with all long suffering and doctrine.
With all long suffering, because guess what? Brothers and sisters may not get it as quickly as you get it in this walk. It's different levels of understanding in this thing. That's why he's saying with all long suffering. Some brothers and sisters pick up on the scriptures quick. Some brothers and sisters don't. But we have to suffer what? Long with brothers, man, on doctrine. What is doctrine according to the Bible? All praise, Brother Donovan. Doctrine is what? Proverbs 4:2. Let's get there right quick. Because they thinking doctrine is Christianity. No, that is not doctrine. Your words, speaking how you feel. No, doctrine is what? Obtaining to the law, statutes, and commandments. When you get there, read that out.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 4 and verse 2. For I give you good doctrine.
Read on.
Forsake ye not my law.
So that's the doctrine we should be suffering along with. Trying to help brothers and sisters keep the commandments to the best of their ability. Like we say, when brothers and sisters trying to keep the commandments, it wouldn't be nothing a brother or sister in the congregation wouldn't do for a brother. Like we always tell them, come in. Well, what about my friends, brother? We'll get you some friends, man. That's the least of our concerns. Come in the building, brother. That's the point. Those things, guess what? You'll get those things in time. That's light work to brothers and sisters in the congregation. We have sisters that sew shirts all the time, man. Read that again from the top.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 4 and verse 2. For I give you good doctrine. Forsake ye not my law.
So that's the doctrine we should not forsake. Keeping God's law, statutes, and commandments. Gathering on the high holy days. Those are commandments. Guess what? Gathering on the new moons. Loving your brother as you love yourself. If you have a problem with your brother or your sister, apply Matthews 18 and 15. That doesn't get done enough, man. And you wonder why brothers and sisters harbor secret hatred towards one another, because you're not applying the scriptures in that aspect. Let's go back to the book of 2 Timothy chapter 4 and verse 3. You got some up?
The book of 2 Timothy chapter 4 and verse 3. For the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine.
So you have many brothers and sisters at a time that would not endure. Read that again up.
For the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine.
So we have brothers and sisters at a time that would not endure sound doctrine, meaning you come into the truth on fire in this thing, but then you let the curls of the world weigh you down. So guess what? You stop keeping Sabbath. Then guess what? You stop wearing your fringes. Then guess what? It don't matter what you can eat now. You start celebrating things you should not be celebrating. Guess what? That's not enduring sound doctrine. And we know what doctrine is. It's the law. Read on up.
But after their own lusts.
Read that again.
But after their own lusts.
And we see a lot of times that's why brothers and sisters get sifted out. They run to their own lust, whatever that lust may be, whether it be actual, real sexual lust, whether it means you can't shake being submissive unto your husband, brothers can't shake not being diligent in this walk, whatever that lust may be. Read on up.
But after their own lust shall they heap to themselves teachers, having itching ears.
And then that's the other case. You heap to yourselves teachers having itching ears, meaning what? I like this particular doctrine, so guess what? I'm gonna find a leader that teach that particular doctrine. Even like in GOCC and other brothers we get now, even with our brothers from one body, like we say, gathering all nations to them. That's not in the Bible. So guess what? Brothers and sisters that still struggle with Christianity, they will flock to those particular camps. I mean, it is what it is. That's having an itching ear. That's why the Bible commands us that we do what? Learn precept upon precept. There's many precepts telling us to do what? Separate from the other nations. Because if we don't, they'll come in and destroy it from inside. Guess what? Check your spirit, brothers and sisters, because guess what? That spirit could jump on your sister or that spirit could jump on your brother. You got something?
And this is the thing, brothers, sowing discord, this is what really goes into it, man. It said that after their own lust, man. So they became teachers, they themselves teachers having itching ears. Brothers sometimes ain't never been a teacher, ain't never wanted to teach. They tried to put brothers up to teach. Well, all of a sudden, you trying to go holler at one brother or two brothers or two sisters, trying to teach them what they should do, how they should teach, or whatnot. You see what the scriptures say, man. These things bring up this kind of situation in our nation, man. Brothers, they heat themselves to be teachers, yet they ain't never did no teaching. They ain't never wanted to teach. They ain't never tried to teach. But now you got brothers coming to you, hey, brother, man, you don't need to teach like that, man. Hey, man, you know this ain't true. This ain't. Come on, man. This is what goes on around camps, man. But if you're not built up enough, you'll let this sifting season come and get you in the time that the Most High God sent it, man. Because this sifting season all over the year. We know they're doing around right before the Passover, we get a lot. But right now, man, we seeing a lot of sifting amongst Israel right now, man.
That's right.
So I bring out a heavy class, man. Also, when the Most High says, be instant in season and out of season, I mean at all times, because as soon as you let your guard down, who got their guard up?
That's right.
The devil, Job. We said, well, let's get there right quick. Let's go to Job chapter 1, man. Chapter 2. Because I'm gonna tell you, the devil is always on this job, man. He's always on this job. So when you ain't entered in season, out of season, and you let your guard down for a minute, or you say, well, I'm gonna do my own thing for a minute. I ain't messing with camps right now. I ain't doing this. Guess what? You open that door, man.
That's right.
You got to be in season, out of season, in your affliction, or when you got the good. You know what I'm saying? When this peachy cream, and when it's storming and raining in your household, whatever. Job chapter 2, verse 6.
The book of Job, chapter 2 and verse 6.
Uh-huh.
And the Lord said unto Satan, behold, he is in thine hand, but save his life.
It's like, my bad. Read 1 and 6. I'm sorry.
The book of Job, chapter 1 and verse 6.
Uh-huh.
Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord.
Uh-huh.
And Satan came also among them.
And Satan came also with them, man. You got to be entered in season and out of season at all times, because Satan right there on your shoulder looking for you to mess up. Guess who else? Your own people looking for you to mess up. The other nations looking for you to have one crack or one flaw. Just like when you go in the box and you see somebody, they got a good defense, but then you see something where they don't have good defense, and now you go attack that. That's what the devil do. He go see and look where he can. So as soon as you're not instant in season or out of season, the devil always right there. He said the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and guess who was with them? At all times. Read 7.
Verse 7. And the Lord said unto Satan, whence comest thou?
Like that, where you come from? Man, you here too? Read on.
Then Satan answered the Lord and said, from going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it.
So what is the devil doing at all times? Looking for who he can devour, man. 1 Peter 5 and 8 is very heavy, man. We don't the well-common precepts, man. They really hit hard to you when you have different classes coming out. Now read chapter 2, verse 1.
The book of Job, chapter 2 and verse 1. Again, there was a day.
Again, there was a day. Again, this lets you know that the devil is very persistent in his doings, man. So what should we do? What should we be? We should be very persistent in rebuking the devil, right?
That's right.
And pushing that doctrine out, man. When brothers do come to you with these side words and sowing discourse and trying to get you, man, you got, hey man, say, hey man, I ain't with that, man. We ain't doing that, man. Right? Read on.
Again, there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them to present himself before the Lord.
So that's all we need on that. But every time you come to do the Lord's work, every time you at work or you at the job, that's why we always say you stay in the spirit. Why? Because Satan right there waiting on you to get out the spirit, man. Waiting on you. We'll be on the phone, call, come, try to hit. Well, we like, I stay in the spirit, man. I already know, man. I'm out here in these streets too. Stay in the spirit, though. Because Satan is right there, man. Every time, man. Right? Go ahead.
Let's go back to the book of 2 Timothy, chapter 4 and verse 4.
The book of 2 Timothy, chapter 4 and verse 4. And they shall turn away their ears from the truth.
And that's one way, guess what? Like I was going into, Satan can get people sifted out of this truth, to get them to turn their ears from the truth. When they talk about turning your ears, meaning making you stop keeping the commandments. Whatever you got to take, like we say, whether it be accidents, like we always tell brothers and sisters, one of the most heaviest days that Satan is trying to tempt brothers and sisters is what? Is on the Sabbath day. It's always something coming up. Husband and wives may be into it. Brothers may be into it. It's always something. You got a flat tire. I'm tired from the day before. Hell, we all tired. But guess what? We're supposed to persevere through those things, man. Like we say, hey, it ain't going to be easy because the Most High God is constantly trying us to see if you're going to go in spite of having a little conflict in your life. That's letting the Most High God know that you're really serious about this truth. Ain't nothing going to stop me from, guess what, doing the will of the Father. We got to have that mindset of, guess what, you will be sifted out in this thing, man. Read on up.
And shall be turned unto fables.
And now they, guess what, fables is going into make-believe. They don't believe it now because they're showing a pattern of not good works. They don't believe the report no more. I got to wear my fringes all the time, man. I'm just out and about real quick, man. Man, do we really not have to eat pork? Do we really do need to celebrate that or not, or come up out of the ways and customs of the other nations? These are things that contemplate on their mind. Read on out.
But watch thou in all things.
Read that again out.
But watch thou in all things.
But watch thou in all things. Meaning what? The things that's going on in the world, watching your spirit. If brothers is married, watching the wife's spirit, watching the children's spirit, watching the spirits that's up in the congregation. It said in watching all things, watching the prophecies that's unfolded in the book of Matthew, chapter 24, 2nd Ezra chapter 13, 2nd Ezra chapter 15, 2nd Ezra chapter 16. Right now, even Zelensky over there in Ukraine, they knowing, guess what? Nuclear war is on the verge. They bombing nuclear plants. I mean, come on, man, this thing is right there on the edge. So you don't want to be sifted out in the heated time, or you'll just be lost forever, man. Meaning what? Going on different doctrines. Then the Most High God do what? Put a strong delusion on you. Hey, these things are no games, man. Brothers got to pay attention to what's going on, man. Read on up.
Do the work of an evangelist.
Go back. Read that again. You missed one.
Endure affliction.
What?
Endure affliction.
I'm gonna tell you, brother, sister. A lot of time when brother and sister get shifted out and they leave, they done went through some kind of affliction.
That's right.
Whether it's affliction of their own, whether it's affliction of the Most High God, whether it's something that they're dealing with and they get corrected on. Afflictions, man. Endure afflictions. Because affliction will get you out this door quicker than anything else, man. Oh, man, no, I can't deal. I can't keep doing this. This is the affliction that the Most High God is going to give us, man. Like I said, even when in doctrines or whatever the case may be, it says you have to endure these afflictions. This is the way that you strengthen yourself for what? Not getting sifted out. Because immediately when something go wrong, what do? We make rash decisions, right? We make rash decisions instead of being patient, looking at the situation, praying to the Most High God, letting them trying to get an understanding of why am I going through this.
Either we make rash decisions or we make decisions based on our emotions and our feelings.
That's right. That's for real. So I will make sure you endure afflictions, brothers and sisters.
Right. Let's get a precept for that. Let's go to the book of James, chapter 1, verse 12. That's what Esau has taught us to go by feelings. That's why black on black crime is heavy in our nation. Because guess what? We go off feelings. Well, they did this instead of applying the scriptures. Brother may have stepped on your Jordans, may have bumped you. And guess what? Now you feeling some type of way. But like we say, the scriptures hit harder than any punch a brother can throw, man.
Brother might have gave you correction on what you was doing wrong or in the scripture or not. Your feelings, you don't want to, all right. We got to make sure that the Bible is a be-all, end-all, man. Read that out.
The book of James, chapter 1 and verse 12. Blessed is the man that endureth temptation.
So that's a blessing. If you're enduring temptation. Hey, if we didn't have temptation, guess what? How could we be prepared for anything? We have to go through something. So, we have to. It's no way around it, man. These things prepare us. Read on. Because like we said, if we don't go through nothing and these things come to us easily, we don't respect it, brothers and sisters. We see it time and time again. I know Ox always bring it up, even with the toys situation when you buying children's toys. That spoiled little child that they're not working for it. They get that toy, play with it for 5 minutes, cast that thing behind. Just no respect. It's the same thing even with adults in the truth. But we're all still what? God's little children, man. Read on up.
For when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life.
It says, for when he is tried, meaning what? The Most High God is taking you through things. Because it also, like we say, you always want to think of the Bible in totality. I think about the 4 types of Israelites. Any brother can name them all. What are the 4 types of Israelites? Can any brother name them? I don't see no hands going up. We have plenty of classes on these things, man. Certain scriptures just got to stand out on brothers. 4 type of Israelites. We read it all the time. I'm gonna call on brothers that's trying to look down. I don't know, y'all set yourself up for. I ain't don't get my contact.
I know brothers got one. Let's help each other out, brother. Give me one, brother.
What you got?
One's that song on Stony Ground.
All right, that's
all right.
one.
Y'all help Bird Kai out, Bruce. I know y'all got another.
What you got, brother Glenn? We bring this precept out every Sabbath. What you got, brother Charles?
Other ones that hear it big league and they come
Exactly.
Mhm.
Ones that hear it, you got the sword that take away the word. Ones that sown on stony ground, meaning what? They're not on a good foundation when they come into this truth. We're gonna get that after this. And one that, guess what? They come into the truth, they burn for a time, then they let the cares of the world cast them out. Then the other one, they just full-blown rejected, man. Read on up.
For when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life,
The crown of life is going into the kingdom. Read on up.
which the Lord hath promised to them that love him.
That love him, meaning what? That's keeping his commandments. Let's get there real quick. Let's go to the book of Mark 4:14. Real quick. This is going into the 4 types of Israelites. This is something that if brothers and sisters had went over this class, we have did plenty of classes on these things. Make sure y'all make a mental note and go and watch it after class. You know, get built up on these things. The 4 types of Israelites. Read this right quick.
The book of Mark, chapter 4 and verse 14. The sower soweth the word,
So you got the one type where the sower is sowing the word. Read on.
and these are they by the wayside,
So you have people out there by the wayside. Read on.
where the word is sown.
Uh-huh.
But when they have heard, Satan cometh immediately and taketh away the word.
So this is one of them. And we see this plenty of times. I know brothers and sisters that watch the videos. How many times have y'all seen brothers and sisters, some wicked brother that's in Christ? Brother, God loves you. Oh, really? Let me hear what you got to say. Us telling him that he the greatest thing on the planet Earth. Letting him know that your God of you as a king on the planet Earth. No, you want to hear what the enemy has to say, not what your God has to say. So this is one of them. Read on.
And taketh away the word that was sown in their hearts.
Read on up.
And these are they likewise, which are sown on stony ground,
Just like what I was going into. Read on.
who, when they have heard the word, immediately receive it with gladness.
So this is another type. They receive it with gladness. Oh, I'm an Israelite. Oh, I'm a princess. Come on. All praise to the Most High. Read on.
And have no root in themselves.
But they don't have no root, meaning what? No foundation. They're not what? Digging in deep to stay planted. Read on up.
And so endure but for a time.
So they endure but for a time, meaning what? They let the cares of the world. Read on up.
Afterward, when affliction or persecution ariseth for the word's sake,
It says, when affliction or persecution ariseth for the word's sake. Why is it arising for the word's sake? To do what? Build brothers up. So it's literally telling you, it ain't nothing you done did. Hey, nothing other people done did. It's for the word's sake, to build you up stronger in this truth. To let you know that, guess what? You're going to come in this truth and go through some things, man. Might have financial problems. May have family problems. May have marital problems. But guess what? You got to push through those things. Read on.
immediately they are offended.
Immediately they are offended. Meaning what? They're all in their feelings. So guess what? They're letting their emotions dictate over the commandments. And that's an easy way to get sifted out. Read on up.
And these are they which are sown among thorns, such as hear the word, and the cares of this world, and the deceitfulness of riches, and the lusts of other things entering in.
Coming to your spirit when you're not what on a good foundation. Read on.
Choke the word.
Do what up?
Choke the
Read
word,
on up.
and it becometh unfruitful.
So guess what? It chokes the word and stops your spirit from growing. So guess what? You're no longer bringing forth fruits unto repentance. Jump down to verse 20.
Verse 20. And these are they which are sown on good ground,
Read on up.
such as hear the word and receive it,
Read on.
and bring forth fruit,
And do what up?
and bring forth fruit.
Read on up.
Some 30-fold, some 60, and some an 100.
So this is what all brothers and sisters should be trying to get to. When you in this truth diligently, not only are you diligently, you're doing what? Bringing forth fruit 30 and 40 and 50-fold. Meaning what? You out there reaching the people, trying to, guess what, gather the troops, understanding your role in the congregation, trying to do good works in the congregation, even if you're a sister. It's always things that need to be done. Let's go back. Still freezing. We getting a minute too. Look at this. Y'all bear with us for a minute. Who is that? Jerubbaal Center? Oh, shoot, I think it's good. Yeah, it might be your phone, the connection. We good. I'll put it up in the top. Down here. What did he say? Brother Yaakov and Brother E. Hood, y'all let us know how the audio is. We say we're gonna keep going. Let's go back to 2 Timothy chapter 4. Finish that out.
The book of 2 Timothy, chapter 4 and verse 5.
Hold on a minute. Go ahead,
The book of 2 Timothy, chapter 4 and verse 5. But watch thou in all things, endure afflictions, do the work of an evangelist.
Do the work of an evangelist, man. An evangelist is someone that goes out and try to convert others to the ministry. Meaning what? We're out there teaching our people. Not talking about everybody, man. This is only talking about the children of Israel, trying to get our people to come back to their laws, statutes, and commandments, converting them back to their nationality, back to God's laws. That's what this is going into. This ain't talking about Christianity. This is not talking about Seventh-day Adventists. This is not talking about Jehovah wickedness, man. You won't read about these things in the Bible. This is only to the Israelites, for the Israelites, by the Israelites. Read on up.
Make full proof of thy ministry.
Read that part again,
Make full proof of thy ministry.
And that's one thing that we must do in this walk. We have to make our ministry of the congregation foolproof. Meaning what? Foolproof of BS. That's the whole point. We got to make it plain to brothers and sisters, man. If brothers and sisters are dealing with certain spirits, you know what you should go to. First, you should do what? Pray, fast, seek out counseling, salaki, and apply the scriptures. That's one of the main things out of those four. And if guess what? If that's not enough, then you have to take it to another level. Like we said, brothers and sisters are fasting only 1 or 2 days, fast 3 or 4 days. Pray 3 or 4 times, or 5 or 6 times a day. You have to do what it takes. We literally can't be there every step of the way to guide you. Now, we are a phone call away. So I guess that is kind of step by step in that sense, but we can't be there physically with you. But like we said, we'll be there spiritually, though, as much as brothers and sisters will allow us. Read that last part again, up.
Make full proof of thy ministry.
And this is what Apostle Paul was doing throughout Galatia, throughout the church of Ephesus, throughout the church of Corinth. He was making full proof the ministry. The church in Corinth, they was dealing with what? Idolatry, dealing with fornication. The church in Athens and Greece, they was dealing with what? Different doctrines, shaking off what? The goddesses of the Greeks. He was making full proof the ministry, meaning what? Getting things back in order. Brothers and sisters, see the spirit that be in our congregation. Brothers are seeing it, and brothers ain't seeing it, then guess what? Brothers and sisters got a little bit more growing to do. You have to be able to, guess what? What do you call it? Be aware of your surroundings. That's how you make foolproof the ministry, because guess what? We all need each other. Like we say, we're helping build one another up, and guess what? Every one of us have to take accountability for the things that we do. Let's go to the book of Luke, chapter 22 and verse 31. Yeah, he said he was getting digitized. I know Brother Kirk said this. He said it was perfect. Luke 22 and verse 31.
The book of Luke, chapter 22 and verse 31.
Uh-huh.
And the Lord said, Simon, Simon, behold, Satan hath desired to have you.
Read that again.
And the Lord said, Simon, Simon.
This is Simon Peter. Read on.
Behold, Satan hath desired to have you.
And guess what? He is the top apostle. And even Satan, was jumping on him. So if it could jump on the number 2 man to Christ, how much weaker us, man? Guess what? We ain't walked with Christ, man. He ain't give us none of those spiritual powers. So we damn sure need the scriptures and make sure that we're, guess what? Grounded in this truth, grounded on a good foundation. Read that again from the top.
Verse 31. And the Lord said, Simon, Simon, behold, Satan hath desired to have you.
Read on up.
That he may sift you as wheat.
That he may sift you as wheat, meaning what? Cause you to be taken out of this truth. Causing you to stop keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. And that's something that brothers and sisters got to, examine in their everyday life. You got something up? Let's go to the book. Read verse 32. Read 32. Read that out.
But I have prayed for thee.
Read that again out.
But I have prayed for thee.
So if brothers and sisters know that they're dealing with something, guess what? Pray for brothers and sisters in this thing, man. Pray for them, man. Go ahead, out.
So a lot of times we don't understand that the Most High is actually fighting for us, man. And we don't even know we're fighting. When we fight, we're not fighting for ourselves. And the Most High is fighting for us at all times. He said, Peter, but I prayed for you, man. A lot of times things are going in your and not in your favor, but the Most High got you to win that battle. But it's up to you to win it. It's like he got a helping hand out there for you, but you don't want to take it. He said, but I have prayed for thee. Read on.
That thy faith fail not.
And that your faith don't fail. Read on.
And when thou art converted, strengthen thy brethren.
So it's order within this thing. He said, then Simon Peter, when you are converted, right? When you go through it and then you beat it, then you go and strengthen your brother. We tell brothers all the time. Sometimes you winning a battle wins a battle for the next brother or the next sister.
That's right.
It's not just about you. We already know Sirach 33:17. We don't labor for only for ourselves, but all them that seek learning, man. So when you said when you are converted, you go strengthen your brothers. How? Showing them that guess what? I beat the same situation. Satan desired me too. But the more I let the Most High fight for me, basically. That's what Christ is telling me. I prayed for you though. So we got to make sure, man, we let the Most High God fight for us, and then we actually accept the fighting, man. Accept the situation that we go through, knowing that the Most High already deemed for you to get out of it. Sometimes we don't even take the door to open the door to get to it, man. Go ahead, though.
Verse 33.
Nah, we ain't got to read 33.
Read verse 32 again.
Verse 32 from the top. But I have prayed for thee, that thy faith fail not.
That thy what?
That thy faith fail not.
Meaning what? You have to have the faith that guess what? You can overcome any of these trials that the Most High God is taking us through. Whether it's your health-wise, your mental state, like I say, your physical state, your financial state. You know, all these things the Most High God can deal with. But you got to make sure that you're applying the commandments. You want some more on there?
Converted, strengthened.
What converts us, Brother Ezra? Psalm 19. You better not be reading.
For real.
Hey, we got the roar like lions up in here, man. Ain't you from the tribe of Judah, Hot? But you got to act like it, man. Say that again, Hot. That's a little bit better. It's still lacking a little bit, man. I'll put you up in Capt 101 all by yourself. Yeah. Like we say, that's what converts us, keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, man. Let's get that real quick. Because we got to constantly keep homing in these points. Like we said, we can never go over the milk enough. The milk prepares us for the deeper things because we touch on it twofold, so at one at a time. We say we get a little bit of deep stuff, but we get a lot of milk, man. So brothers got to understand and have a good foundation, sisters as well. Let's see how we're converted, man. Let's see what converts us. Is it talking about Joel Osteen trying to convert us to Christianity? Let's see what real conversion is, man. You get to read that out.
The book of Psalms, chapter 19 and verse 7. The law of the Lord is perfect.
Is what?
Is perfect.
We don't know.
Converting the soul.
No Jehovah wickedness.
Converting the soul.
No baptism.
Converting the soul.
Converting the soul. The law is what converts the soul. Not you joining Islam. Jehovah wickedness, Adventists, All these different types of religions, those things don't convert you. That's why our people do what? Forever the worst. Read on up.
The testimony of the Lord is sure,
Read on up.
making wise the simple.
Not only does it convert you, but it makes you wise as well. Let's go to the book of Matthew, chapter 21 and verse 19. Going into the parable of the fig tree. Because like we say, Christ, hey, you know, he always compares us to a garden, to trees, to plants that need to be doing what? Bringing forth fruit. If we don't bring forth fruit, we're what? We're sifted out as wheat. We're sifted out. You get to read that.
The book of Matthew, chapter 21 and verse 19. And when he saw a fig tree in the way, he came to it and found nothing thereon, but leaves only, and said unto it, let no fruit grow on thee henceforward forever.
So guess what? We know that the Most High God compares us to what? To trees. Any brother got the precept on us being compared to trees? We got the precept. Well, my precept is that, man. You said Ezekiel 47 and 7.
Mark chapter 8, verse 22.
That's a good one. Mark chapter 8, verse 24. What you say, Junior? Say it again, Ezekiel
47 and 7.
47 and 7.
Psalm 43.
Psalms 1 and 3. Those are many precepts that brothers can go to. Let's get Ezekiel. Oh.
You go to Mark 8, 24.
Yeah, your daddy just said that.
That's like Mark 11 and 13.
Yeah, a lot of those are good precepts. Let's go to the book of Psalms real quick. We want to get one from the Old Testament, one from the New. Remember, he compares us to trees in this thing. 1 and 3. Psalms 1 and 3. Make sure brothers write. Take good notes on these things. Put your little keywords right there. Men as trees. So when you're going back home, you understand the precept. You seeing it, you got it written down, and you're studying that thing. Then you're looking for other precepts to add on to it. You get to read that out.
The book of Psalms, chapter 1 and verse 3. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water.
By the rivers of what?
By the rivers of water.
And that's how we should be in this truth, man. The waters is going into the law, statutes, and commandments, going into the understanding of the scriptures. Read on.
That bringeth forth his fruit in his season.
That bringeth forth his fruit in his season, meaning what? The work that you do, it will show in this thing. It will show. You will literally see those things. Even like how the Most High God, he take a congregation, brothers and sisters. When congregation starts, how do congregation starts? It starts a lot of times out of brothers and sisters' houses. Then you see the fruits grow. Then we move to what? A recreational building. Then we put our unity together. Then what? The Most High God is able to bless us with a building. That's where you start to see the fruits grow. Then you're going in, bringing it, and we build up other congregations in other states, getting other brothers from other areas. That's the fruits that the Most High God want us to show. Because how else can we teach our people if we don't set up places of worship and places to learn? That's the fruits that needs to be shown. Read on up.
His leaf also shall not wither.
And guess what? If you're a tree planted by a river or by waters, your leaf shall not wither. Meaning you're not going to go dim in this walk, man. Read on up.
And whatsoever he doeth shall prosper.
And whatsoever he do it, meaning in the Lord, that's going to prosper. So when brothers and sisters are not prospering, you're not doing something that's in the Lord. That's just plain. Let's go back. Let's get Mark chapter 8, verse 24. When you get there, read that out.
The book of Mark, chapter 8 and verse 24.
Uh-huh.
And he looked up and said, I see men as trees walking.
Read that again, huh?
And he looked up and said, I see men as trees walking.
So the Most High God always compares the men of Israel to trees and men in general as well. It's different levels of men even in the Bible. Let's go to the book of Judges, chapter 9 and verse 8. It's different levels to it, to this thing. So we know that Christ cursed that fig tree because guess what? It wasn't bringing forth fruit. Cursing, purging, sifted out, all those things are synonymous with being what? Pulled out of this truth. Judges chapter 9 and verse 8, Salakia.
The book of Judges, chapter 9 and verse 8. The trees went forth on a time to anoint a king over them.
So we know these trees is not literal trees. It's trees is compared to what? Men. So the men wanted what? A king over them, making and giving prophecies and a parable about the nation of Israel. Read on.
And they said unto the olive tree, reign thou over us.
So they saying to the olive tree, reign over us. A certain level of men in the nation of Israel. Read on.
But the olive tree said unto them, should I leave my fatness, wherewith by me they honor God and man, and go to be promoted over the trees?
So the olive tree didn't want to be promoted to a king. Read on up.
And the tree said to the fig tree.
To the what?
To the fig tree.
This is another level of man and women in this truth. Read on.
Come thou and reign over us.
So it said, come thou and reign over us, meaning a lower level from an olive tree. Read on.
But the fig tree said unto them, should I forsake my sweetness and my good fruit and go to be promoted over the trees?
So they didn't want the position. Jump down. Read on.
Then said the trees unto the vine,
read on.
Come thou and reign over us.
Read on.
And the vine said unto them, Should I leave my wine, which cheereth God and man, and go to be promoted over the trees?
Read on.
Then said all the trees unto the bramble, Come thou and reign over us.
So we see how it's what different levels of trees in this thing. Even with brothers and sisters, you have some brothers that's guess what, top tier brothers, medium brothers. Then guess what, everything is in order within this, within the truth. And like I say, brothers can always guess what, be promoted to a higher level, or meaning what, gain more understanding and knowledge of the truth. So this is the different levels. This is why the Most High God compares us to a fig tree, even like what Christ is going into. Let's go back. I want to go get the other account too. Y'all know Matthew was saying the same thing. It's an account of in John. It's an account of Luke. It's an account of Mark. A lot of these accounts are saying the same things and giving more expounding on more than others did.
So make sure y'all put that Mark 4 and 14 by there, man. But that's heavy. Y'all get a chance to go back and read that Job chapter 9, where it talks about the bramble, the vine tree. Judges. I'm looking right at it. Judges chapter 9. And it's going into the types of Israelites too, man. Because the bramble even going into what the Lord, you know what I'm saying? The lords of the Lord. They wanted somebody to reign over them, huh? That's great though. I was reading on that the other day, man.
Oh, praise God. Let's go to the book of Luke. Luke expounds a little bit more on the fig tree. The book of Luke, chapter 13 and verse 6, the parable of the fig tree.
The book of Luke, chapter 13 and verse 6. He spake also this parable. A certain man had a fig tree planted in his vineyard.
In his
vineyard.
Read on,
and he came and sought fruit thereon, and found none.
And we know this certain man is going into who? Who? Going into Christ. Brother saying it like they really not sure of themselves, man. Hey, this is a school of learning. Yeah, nothing wrong. Hey, there's nothing wrong with being wrong. But say that thing with confidence. Read verse 6 again.
He spake also this parable. A certain man had a fig tree planted in his vineyard, and he came and sought fruit thereon, and found none.
Let's go to Isaiah chapter 5 and verse 1. Make sure y'all write these precepts down. We got Judges chapter 9, 8. Now we're going to Isaiah chapter 5. We'll start in verse 1.
The book of Isaiah chapter 5 and verse 1. Now will I sing to my well-beloved a song of my beloved touching his vineyard.
Touching his who?
Touching his
Now,
vineyard.
who is the beloved according to the scriptures? What? Ruth 3:36, all praise. Read on.
My well-beloved hath a vineyard in a very fruitful hill.
And his beloved had a vineyard in a very fruitful hill, making reference to what? To the land of Israel, because it's the what? The land of milk and honey. Very fruitful. Jump down to verse 7.
Verse 7. For the vineyard of the Lord of hosts is the house of Israel.
Read that again.
For the vineyard of the Lord of hosts is the house of Israel.
For the vineyard of the Lord is the house of Israel. Read on up.
And the men of Judah his pleasant plant.
And the men of Judah his pleasant plant. Read on up.
And he looked for judgment, but behold, oppression.
But behold, what up?
Oppression.
Read on up.
For righteousness, but behold, a cry.
So this is going into where the Most High God was bringing up prophecies concerning what? The northern tribe. How they was about to go out. Jump back up to verse 2.
Verse 2. And he fenced it and gathered out the stones thereof.
He fenced it, meaning what? Secured it in a good place behind brazen walls, meaning what? Giving us the commandments and so forth. Read on.
And planted it with the choicest vine.
And planted it with the choicest vine. Going into what? Second Ezra. All these things are symbolic and parables for the nation of Israel. The vine in Second Ezra chapter 5 is God's what? Favorite plant. These are certain precepts we want brothers to get familiar with. Matter of fact, let's get it real quick. So we going a lot. This is how you get understanding precept upon precept. So hold that precept in Isaiah. Don't forget the thought in Luke. We're going to go slow. Second Ezra chapter 5 and verse 23. I know it's a lot of precepts, but hey, through God's precepts, we get understanding. Therefore, we hate every false way. You get that? Read that out.
The book of Second Ezra, chapter 5 and verse 23. And said, O Lord, that bearest rule of every wood of the earth and of all the trees thereof, thou hast chosen thee one only vine.
So the Most High God's favorite plant is the vine. Making reference to what? Giving a parable to the nation of Israel. We're his favorite people. We're his choice people. Let's go back to Isaiah.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 5 and verse 2.
And
he fenced it and gathered out the stones thereof.
The 12 stones. Read on.
And planted it with the choicest vine.
Read on.
And built a tower in the midst of it.
Going into the temple. Read on.
And also made a winepress therein. And he looked that it should bring forth grapes.
Meaning fruit. Read on.
And it brought forth wild grapes.
But instead of bringing forth grapes, it brought forth what? Wild grapes. Making reference to what? To the northern tribe. Making reference to them doing what? Going off, being wild, going into the ways of the other nations. When you read in context, these is prophecy that Isaiah was given, knowing that they was going to go off. Even going into what? Romans chapter 11, a wild olive tree, making the same reference. Exactly. That's exactly right, too, in the book of Jeremiah. Let's go back to the book of Luke. So we know that this fig tree and that this vineyard is going into who? The nation of Israel. Luke chapter 13 and verse 6.
The book of Luke chapter 13 and verse 6. He spake also this parable. A certain man had a fig tree.
Had a what?
Had a fig tree.
Had a fig tree. A nation, read on.
Planted in his vineyard.
And
he came and sought fruit thereon.
And he came and sought fruit thereon. What is the fruit that we should be seeking in this walk? What's the fruits? Oh, praise God. Galatians. That's the fruit that we should be seeking. But we're going to get a little bit more heavy into it. Let's go to the book of Second Ezra, chapter 3 and verse 20. If we going too fast, just raise your hand. Don't be ashamed. We'll slow this thing down, man. Don't be ashamed. Because I know I will. Hey, going through precepts, man.
The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 3 and verse 20. And yet tookest thou not away from them a wicked heart.
A what?
A wicked heart.
So we still have that wicked heart, man. That's why it's very important that brothers and sisters be diligent in this walk, man. Because at any time, like we said, if you're not instant in season, out of season, you could be sifted out. Read on.
That thy law might bring forth fruit in them.
That thy what?
That thy law might bring forth fruit in them.
That's what brings forth fruit in us. God's laws, statutes, and commandments. Let's go back. Let's go back to the book of Luke, chapter 13 and verse 6 again from the top.
The book of Luke, chapter 13 and verse 6. He spake also this parable. A certain man had a fig tree planted in his vineyard, and he came, sought fruit thereon.
Sought to see if brothers and sisters were what? Keeping the commandments. Read on.
And found none.
Read on now.
Then said he unto the dresser of his vineyard, Behold, these 3 years I come seeking fruit on this fig tree, and find none.
Meaning what? Brothers and sisters that's in this truth for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and you not bringing forth fruit, Christ is going to come see about you, man. Meaning what? Whether it be good or whether it be evil. That's why you see a lot of times brothers and sisters get what? Get sifted out. Because you're not bringing forth fruit, meat unto repentance. You're not doing those things. So Christ got to come knock at your door, man. We got to stop playing the games, man. Like we say, Christ ain't always a nice guy, man. The Most High God is not all love. If he's seeing you not being diligent in this walk, or guess what, using this truth to guess what, build up your nation, he will literally take it from you, man. He will take it from you and then do what? Give you a strong delusion to make that you have the understanding and you really don't, man. You really don't. Go ahead, up. Oh, no, you good. Oh, you got this. So it's our job to guess what? Bring forth this fruit. Read on up.
Cut it down.
Do what?
Cut it down.
Cut it down. And that can be what? Spiritually or physically, man. Hey, the Most High God has the power to do what? To kill and make alive. Cut it down, man. Because guess what? They're not bringing the fruit. They're not doing what? Seeking counsel when they're struggling with something. Guess what? They got vainglory. They're not seeking counsel. They're not seeking the scriptures. They're not applying the scriptures. So Christ will do what? He'll cut us down, man. I mean, it is what it is. Give me the book of John, chapter 15 and verse 2. Just think about the men that were cut down in his walk, man. I ain't even talking about now. I'm talking about in the past. You had Saul, King. You had Judas Iscariot. You had Alexander. You had Hymenaeus. You had Demas. These people walked with what? With Paul. These people walked with Christ. And guess what? They fell out of the truth. They were sifted out. And we're going to cover some of these accounts too. You get there, read that out.
The book of John, chapter 15 and verse 2. Every branch in me that beareth not fruit, he taketh away.
He do what?
He taketh away.
He taketh away. Read on up.
And every branch that beareth fruit, he purgeth.
He do what?
He purgeth it.
He purgeth it. Meaning what? Put trials and tribulations on brothers to do what? Read on.
That it may bring forth more fruit.
So I know with brothers and sisters, if y'all know about gardening, I know a lot of times, even with the Incas and even with the Mayans, they would do what? A lot of times when they would reap the fruits of the crops, after that, they would do what? They would burn the field. So guess what? It'll bring forth more nutrients. So guess what? It'll bring forth more crops year by year. If brothers and sisters understand that. This is going into the same logic. That's why it's a parable that the Most High God is comparing us to. We're like a vineyard. We're like a garden. We're like plants. We're like trees. Read that again, huh?
He purgeth it, that it may bring forth more fruit.
That it may bring forth more fruit. So guess what? The Most High God is, hey, he want to constantly see if you're going to take it up a notch. Not take it down a notch in this walk, man, especially when we get so close to the end. Like we said, we're trying to get brothers built up to where eventually we're going out multiple days during the week. trying to see if brothers' schedules and stuff line up. So, brother, this Capt go out there this day, this Capt go out there that day. That's literally what we're trying to take it to. Take it to. So, like, even with Brother Yaakov in the Memphis area, at the Memphis camp, got Brother Ray at Minnesota. We are asking the Most High God to, guess what? Bless us with these things. Build us up, because we know brothers and sisters bear witness with our spirit. They want brothers up there, man. So this is the whole goal, to take it to the 2 and 3rd and hey, high 30 and 40 and 50 and 60 folds. Let's go back. You got something? Go ahead.
So look at it on the camp level, on the Most High, or the congregation level, the Most High, when he's purging out these things, what he's doing? He's sifting it out, man. Purging is not just killing; it's taking out the bad, man. Purging is taking whatever is not good for the congregation, whatever's not good for that crop, whatever's not good for in that situation. That's what purging is. So when the Most High, when brothers and sisters do leave, when they do walk out, or whatever the case may be, that's the Most High God purging, man. That's right. And like we said, we don't say every brother and sister that leave not in the truth, man. We said we don't want that, man. Brother and sister, wherever you go, man, stay in the truth, stay diligent, but diligent. But a lot of times, man, it's not the case, man.
That's right.
It's not the case a lot of times, because that's the Most High God's doing, man. Like we said, when brothers leave out of here, man, that's the Most High God's doing, man. Right. He's doing something. We know. Matthew 10 and 34, he said, "Well, I ain't come to say peace, but what division, man." We got to see. He got to divide this thing. See who really for him. Like I was saying, and the scripture going into, man.
And I know sometimes, like we say, brothers and sisters may struggle with it. You know, that comes over a period of time. But like we say, y'all know us at the Captain, we talk all the time. You know, I'm a nice guy. You know, I am. I consider myself a nice guy. You know, easy to get along with. What you laughing for, Barakai? Good boy. What you laughing over there? You looking guilty. But I already know you. But I consider myself a nice guy, easy to get along with. You know, so when I came into the truth, yeah, it did. But like, damn, why do people keep effing leaving? Like, what's up, man? They not applying the scriptures or what? Or why can't we all just get along? But as I grew in the truth, the Most High God gave me what? A thicker skin or a thicker spirit. So now I'm able to understand. I understand. I understand why. And I know a lot of times we normally, I know brothers and sisters, we easy to go get around congregation. We're very inviting, you know, at times. I'm looking out. Brother's good. Y'all know I'm shooting shots at sisters sometimes. But like we said, we're easy going to get along congregation. So of course it should feel some type of way when brothers and sisters do leave. Like we say, there's nothing wrong with reaching out, but you have to understand that, guess what? The Most High God is doing this.
Going back to the four Israelites, man. Right. How many type of Israelites are there? 4. So if it's 4, then what? It's 4 type of Israelites. I mean, what? Some gonna be sown on stony ground, right? You have to check your spirit and see this thing. Some will go fall by the wayside. Some go come in here diligent, man, with the like, damn, we about to raise this brother. Then all of a sudden, brother ain't wearing fringes no more. But I ain't dealing with camps no more. You know what I'm saying? Situations like this, it's 4 types of Israelites. If the scripture said that, why when it happened, why do sometimes brothers and sisters, oh man, we could have did more, you could have said more. Like we always say, man, we pretty much nice guys, man. We're not hard to get along with. You know, some brothers you meet, they're like, damn, what's a hard brother to get along with? We don't really feel like we are that. But it's only so much we can do. We can't walk. Say this all the time. We can't hold brothers and sisters' hands in this walk, man.
And we can't play the game, especially when we seeing sin. We got to bring the correction out. And guess what? The Most High God to judge us. Let's go back to the book of Luke, chapter 13 and verse 7 again. Like we say, make sure brothers and sisters are always trying to be that what? That fourth Israelite. The one that come in, guess what? Receiving with gladness. Not only coming in doing the work, but you bringing forth fruit. You know, brothers and sisters can see the spirit on you. Like, damn, that brother growing in the spirit, man. And that sister growing in the spirit, man. All praise to the Most High God. Keep that thing up. Read this,
The book of Luke, chapter 13 and verse 7. Then said he unto the dresser of his vineyard, Behold, these 3 years I come seeking fruit on this fig tree, and I find none. Cut it down.
Do what?
Cut it down.
Do what?
Cut it down.
Meaning what? Sift it out. Purge it out. Read on.
Why cumbereth it the ground?
Why cumber it the ground? Meaning what? It's taking up space. Meaning what? It's wasting precious minerals. It's wasting resources and so forth. Let's get that definition real quick on cumber it. Let's get that definition on cumber it. I'm gonna read it real quick. The definition of cumber it: to render useless, to make vain. Hey, and like we said, troublesome, burdensome, embarrassing, vexatious, unwieldy, unmanageable, not easily borne or managed. So brothers and sisters want to make sure that they don't have these types of attributes on their spirit. Like you say, you want to make sure that you're not being useless in this truth. You don't want to be an embarrassment to this truth. You don't want to be burdensome in this truth, brothers and sisters. Let's go back. The book of Luke, chapter 13 and verse 8.
The book of Luke, chapter 13 and verse 8. And he answering said unto him, Lord.
Hold up. Salaki, brothers and sisters. Let's get Matthew chapter 7 and verse 19. Real quick. We'll come back. Matthew 7 and 19. When you get there, read that out.
The book of Matthew, chapter 7 and verse 19. Every tree that bringeth not forth good fruit,
read on,
is hewn down.
Is what up?
Is hewn down.
Meaning what? The same thing that he said. Cut down. Read on up.
And cast into the fire.
And did what up?
And cast into the fire.
That fire is going into what? The lake of fire. Christ is not playing any games with brothers and sisters in this walk. Let's get an example. Let's go to the book of 1 Samuel chapter 16 and verse 14. Let's get an example, man. And brothers and sisters know the examples because we bring these things up constantly because we want to put them in remembrance. So brothers and sisters don't fall into that. 1 Samuel chapter, 16 and verse 14.
The book of 1 Samuel chapter 16 and verse 14. But the Spirit of the Lord departed from Saul.
Read that again.
But the Spirit of the Lord departed from Saul.
So guess what? The Spirit of the Lord departed from Saul. Once upon a time, Saul was walking with the Spirit of the Most High, man. But guess what? He started to what? Go outside the commandments, started to break the commandments. Then the Most High God did what? Read on out.
And an evil spirit from the Lord troubled him.
So Christians talking about, no, the Most High God is all love and all good. No, the Most High God gave him an evil spirit. Why did he do it? Did he do it because he hated him? No, he did it because he was what? Disobedient. When we see brothers and sisters go outside of their character, that spirit detector should go off in your head. They changing up how they used to be, coming into this thing. You starting to see brothers and sisters carry themselves different, doing things contrary to what the Bible is saying. Their spiritual detection should go off in their head, man. Every single, and all brothers should have that thing. All sisters should have that thing too, because you use that to do what? To guard your spirit in your life, man. Read that again up.
But the Spirit of the Lord departed from Saul, and an evil spirit from the Lord troubled him.
It will trouble you, man, if you're not bringing forth fruit. If you're playing with this game, hey, if you're playing with this thing, the Most High God will jack you up, man. Read on up.
And Saul's servants said unto him, Behold, now an evil spirit from God troubleth thee.
Hey, an evil spirit from God troubleth thee, man. Let's get another one. Let's go to the book of Luke, chapter 22 and verse 3. So like we said, we bring these classes out so brothers and sisters can do what? Can catch themselves in real time, man. Catch themselves. Asking the Most High God to renew a right spirit in you. Just like King David did after he went off behind Bathsheba. He asked and prayed to the Most High God when you read in the book of Psalms 51. That's his prayer, repenting to the Lord. Lord, please put a new spirit on me. They pray all the time. Please keep me diligent in this walk, Lord. Don't give me vain thoughts. Don't give me a vain glory type spirit. Read this.
The book of Luke, chapter 22 and verse 3. Then entered Satan into Judas, surnamed Iscariot, being of the number of the 12.
Being of the what?
Being of the number of the 12.
Now that thing right there is heavy because guess what? He walked with Christ. Meaning what? Got spiritual power breathed on him, got the great understanding of the scriptures. And guess what? Even he was sifted out. So if he can be sifted out, what you think with us in this thing that's not walking with Christ? We can easily be sifted out, brothers and sisters, man. Read that again.
Then entered Satan into Judas, surnamed Iscariot, being of the number of the 12.
Being of the number of the 12. We want brothers and sisters to meditate on that thing, man. Really meditate, man. Go over these things. Go back over. Because like I said, if it can happen to him, hey, it can happen to anybody, man. Let's go to the book of Ezekiel, chapter 20 and verse 35. We said the Most High God is not playing with us in these last days, man, and we have to know that. Start at verse 34.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 20 and verse 34. And I will bring you out from the people, and will gather you out of the countries wherein ye are scattered, with a mighty hand, and with the stretched out arm, and with the fury poured out. And I will bring you into the wilderness of the people.
And this is going into what? End time, like they say in Christianity, eschatology, end time prophecies. So when we're saved from what? From the chariots, the Most High God is going to bring us into the wilderness. Guess what he's going to do then? Jump down to verse 38.
Verse 38. And I will purge out from among you the rebels.
Read that again.
And I will purge out from among you the rebels.
So if he's doing that, even when we go back to the wilderness, what you think that he's doing right now? He's doing that same thing right now, man. It's always, like we say, even with brothers that play basketball, you may have 2 and 3 cuts. Hey, we doing another cut. Gotta lighten the load, man. So the Most High God is doing what he's constantly doing, what? Cutting brothers and sisters from the team, man. You make sure that, guess what? You get your practice reps in, man. Meaning what? Reading the scriptures. Getting built up by keeping God's commandments. Read that again from the top.
Verse 38. And I will purge out from among you the rebels.
The who?
The rebels.
Read on up.
And them that transgress against me.
Read on up.
I will bring them forth out of the country where they sojourn.
Read on.
And they shall not enter into the land of Israel. And ye shall know that I am the Lord.
And that's what? That's ultimately the final cut, man. That's letting you know if you're going to make the roster or not, man. You want to be in that number here, Shirley Caesar. For real. Like, we ain't playing no games, man. Let's go back to the book of Luke, chapter 13. The book of Luke, chapter 13 and verse 8.
The book of Luke, chapter 13 and verse 8. And he answering said unto him, Lord, let it alone this year also, till I shall dig out, till I shall dig about it and dung it.
It says, and he answering and said unto him, meaning the dresser of his vineyard, meaning what? The husbandman or the gardener, to make it in layman's terms. And he answering and said unto him, Lord, let it alone. Meaning what? You may have brothers that we may talk to each other, man, get a brother another chance. You know, give the sister another chance. Read on up.
Let it alone this year also, till I shall dig about it.
Till I dig about it, meaning what? Give them more precepts or give them more nutrients to fill their spirit. Read on up.
And dung it.
And dung it. That dung is going into what? The fertilizer. Exactly, the fertilizer. So like we say, we know the fertilizer is the commandments to where you grow thereby. So you may have brothers and sisters, you know, hey, show a little bit of grace, show a little bit of mercy, but we can't play the games. We cannot play the games at all. Let's go to 2nd Ezra chapter 9 and verse 31. But of course, you know, we always gonna have mercy, but like we say, dealing with brothers and sisters 2 and 3 and 4 times on particular things that they can't. Now, it's a difference when we seeing brothers and sisters struggle with that thing and they're using the advice and the counsel that we're giving them. But it's a difference when brothers and sisters are not using that counsel. Brothers and sisters have to go. Like, we can't play the games with that at all. They not listen to the counsel. We see they're not trying to apply the scriptures. We can't play the game, man. You get there, read that out.
The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 9 and verse 31. For behold, I sow my law in you.
Read on out.
And it shall bring fruit in you.
And it shall bring fruit in you. Read on out.
And ye shall be honored in it forever.
So we got to make sure that, guess what? Those nutrients that we're getting, that fruit, is God's laws, statutes, and commandments. Let's go to 2nd Ezra chapter 8 and verse 10.
The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 8 and verse 10.
Uh-huh.
For thou hast commanded out of the parts of the body.
Read on.
That is to say, out of the breast.
Out of the what?
Out of the breast.
Out of the breast. What comes out of the breast? Breast. Read on.
Milk to be given.
Milk to be given, meaning what? That's the basic understanding of the scriptures. Brothers going over what is the light. What is the light, little Benaniyah, according to the Bible? You see what I'm talking about? That boy ain't been. Put that damn phone up. I don't even want to hear it. Put that phone up. Before I come back there and cut you down, man. What is love according to the Bible? It's not 1 John 5 and 3. Be like, what's his name? Whatever. CW, man. Put that phone up, boy. I ain't playing with you. Go get it. You know you're supposed to have your Bible anyway. They say children up in here learning, man, too. Stop playing the game. Read that again, huh?
For thou hast commanded out of the parts of the body. That is to say, out of the breast.
Out of the who?
Out of the breast.
Read on, huh?
Milk to be given.
Milk to be given, meaning what? The basics understanding of the scriptures. Going through, like we always teach brothers, like you say, certain keywords that should stand out to you. Wearing your fringes, growing your beard, sisters putting on modest apparel, not eating pork. This is the basics once you come into the truth. But then after that, you want to start to what? Up your game each and every year. The certain spirits you dealt with in the past, guess what? You want to try to be what? Putting off those spirits coming into the next year. We know brothers and sisters may deal with lust, may deal with envy, jealousy, but guess what? You got to pray and fast those spirits off. Them spirits are insatiable, man. They want nothing more than to have you deal with those things so they can stay in your spirit and dwell therein, man. Read on up.
Which is the fruit of the breast.
Which is the fruit of the breast. That's the nutrients that we need to grow. Let's go back to the book of Luke, chapter 13. Start at verse 8 again.
The book of Luke, chapter 13 and verse 8. And he answering said unto him, Lord, let it alone this year also, till I shall dig about it and dung it.
And dung it. Read on.
And if it bear fruit, well.
And if it bear fruit, well. Meaning what? They come in this thing 30, 40 folds. Read on.
And if not, then after that thou shalt cut it down.
So even in verse 8, we always have grace. We got brothers that speak on brothers and sisters' behalf. That grace is always there. That's one of the main commandments that we must strive to keep, like it says in the book of Matthew, chapter 23. We have omitted the weighted matters of the law. So don't think that brothers and sisters don't have grace. A lot of times, brothers and sisters see situations and looking from the outside in. Hey, let us know. We'll come to us, man. Matthews 18 and 15 and ask us why this decision was made. Guess what? We'll give you insight into that thing, man. Let's get that in Matthew chapter 23. Because we never want to omit those things, man. Matthews 23 and 23.
The book of Matthew, chapter 23 and verse 23.
Uh-huh.
Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees,
Read on.
Hypocrites,
Read on out.
for ye pay tithe of mint and anise
Ananias,
and cumin,
uh-huh.
and have omitted the weightier matters of the law.
And we have weightier matters of the law. Let's read on.
Judgment.
Judgment is a weightier matter of the law. Meaning what? Bringing correction. If brothers and sisters are not being corrected in this truth, then they're going to do what? Wax worse and worse, man. It has to come out, man. Whether it be from leadership, whether it be from sisters, or whether it be from brothers. If we see brothers and sisters going out, we're commanded to say something, man. Or you'll be doing what? Breaking Leviticus chapter 5, verse 1. We can't do those things in this walk. Read on up.
Mercy.
Mercy. That's what we have to have mercy in this thing. But we ain't going to play the game. Mercy don't come at 10, 20 times on down the line, not listening to the counsel and not trying to do the things that counsel is giving. Read on.
And faith.
And faith. We got to have that thing, man. So those are weightier matters of the law. Let's get into some of these things. Let's go dive into this diligence. Let's go to the book of Exodus, chapter 15 and verse 26. Because these are some of the characteristics that brothers and sisters must have to survive in this truth, man. We must have this thing to survive. We can't despise order. You can't despise those things. You can't despise wanting to congregate. Deal with these problems head on, man. Let's deal with them, man. Like we say, that's the point of us coming into the truth. We come into the truth to deal with problems according to the Bible. Like we always say, we done tried our way, man. Damn, let's try God's way, man. Our way ain't gotten us no damn where, man. Nowhere, man. Matter of fact, it made us worse. What? Let's just try God's way for a change, man. And let's see how that thing work out. Read this.
The book of Exodus, chapter 15 and verse 26, and said, if thou wilt diligently hearken to the voice of the Lord thy God.
We have to diligently hearken to the voice of the Lord thy God, man. There's no other way around it. We can't play the games. Exodus chapter 15, verse 26 again from the top.
Verse 26, and said, if thou wilt diligently hearken to the voice of the Lord thy God, and wilt do that which is right in his sight.
What is the precept for right, if brothers know? What's the precept for right? Precept. Come on, where my Bible thumpers at, man?
Deuteronomy 6 and 18.
Jump up to 17. All praise out. Let's get that. Deuteronomy 6 and verse 17. You have to read 17 and 18 together.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 6 and verse 17. Ye shall diligently keep the commandments of the Lord your God.
Hey, the Most High God has to keep telling us this because guess what? We're a bunch of hard-headed, rebellious nation of people, man. Even the more understanding I get on that, I'm not going to even lie. I understand why it's 2 or 3 witnesses in the Bible. Because he got to keep telling us 2 and 3 times all over again, constantly telling us. And there's more witnesses than that on certain precepts. Constantly keep telling us these things. Read on up.
And his testimonies and his statutes, which he hath commanded thee. And thou shalt do that which is right and good in the sight of the Lord.
So when we diligently keep his laws, statutes, and commandments, that's what's doing right according to the Bible. That's a precept for brothers out there that teach on the streets, man. Read on up.
That it may be well with thee, and that thou mayest go in and possess the good land which the Lord sware unto thy fathers.
Let's go back to Exodus 15 and 26. Again from the top. They say, raise your hand if we're going too fast. We will slow it down.
The book of Exodus, chapter 15 and verse 26, and said, if thou wilt diligently hearken to the voice of the Lord thy God, and wilt do that which is right in his sight.
Hearkening them to the voice is keeping his commandments. What's right is keeping his commandments. Read on.
And wilt give ear to his commandments, and keep all his statutes. I will put none of these diseases upon thee, which I have brought upon the Egyptians. For I am the Lord that healeth thee.
That do what?
That healeth thee.
So we damn sure don't want those judgments. We know the Most High God brought many plagues upon the Egyptians. Plague after plague after plague. So we don't want to fall in the condemnation or in the wrong side of the hand of the Lord. Give me another. Let's go to the book of Proverbs 22 and verse 29. This is one of the attributes that brothers and sisters must have in this truth, man, to not be sifted out. You have to be diligent, man. Diligent in doing the work of the Lord, not doing your own work. Hey, we meaning what? Doing precept upon precept.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 22 and verse 29. Seest thou a man diligent in his business? He shall stand before kings.
Shall stand before who?
Before kings.
What business is it talking about? Your business that you're making? No, it's talking about what? Doing the work of the Lord. Read that again from the top. Huh?
Seest thou a man diligent in his business? He shall stand before kings.
Before kings. Read on, huh?
He shall not stand before mean men.
And not stand before mean men. Meaning what? Men of the other nations or what? Brothers and sisters that you may not get along even in this truth. The Most High God is going to make a way to, guess what? Build us up in this thing. That king is going into who? Christ. That's what all brothers and sisters should be trying to obtain to. Guess what? Saying the Most High God come in through my door, man, and sup with him, man. Partake in this kingdom with him. Like I say, you don't want to get that call, hey, boy, I never knew you. I couldn't even get the saying. You don't want to hear that, man. You want to hear this part, man. Read that again one more time. Huh?
Verse 29. Seest thou a man diligent in his business? He shall stand before kings. He shall not stand before mean men.
Give me Galatians chapter 6 and verse 9.
The book of Galatians, chapter 6 and verse 9. And let us not be weary in well-doing.
Hey, don't be weary in well-doing, man. I know a lot of times brothers and sisters may worry about this thing. Worry about what your family think, what your children think, what your significant other think. If they're not in the truth, you can't be weary in that matter, man. Because a lot of times the Most High God, hey, he called who he called. A lot of times he may call a husband in the truth and may not call a wife into the truth. Guess what? You can't be weary in that thing. All you can do is do what? Be that example that she needs. Once she see you starting to what? Apply the commandments, come into that change, man, and being converted according to the law. Don't think that don't affect her spirit in some aspect. Or sisters that's carrying themselves and their husband is not in this truth. You being submissive, not being like how the sisters are in the world when you're learning to control your mouth according to the Bible. Don't think that he don't take and acknowledge that, like, damn, like, you know, this truth really is changing you, man, for the better. Now, let me see what them damn Hebrews talk about then. Let me see. What harm could it be? So you want to make sure that you're always doing your part. That's what we always tell with brothers and sisters that's in marriages. Because we know, according to the book of, what is that, Galatians, right? Ephesians chapter 5. We know marriage is a mystery, meaning problems going to come up all the time in marriages. But brothers and sisters have to always do what? Remember what their roles is in the truth, man. Remember what your role is. The role of the husband is to do what? Is to lead, to guess what? To provide, to guess what? Give her understanding of the scriptures. Sister's job is to do what? To be submissive unto their husbands. Making a watch for your mouth, meaning what? That you're constantly checking that spirit, because I know Judah sisters deal with that thing heavy. They deal with it. But brothers got to understand that, guess what? We all in captivity together. Sisters been in 30, 40 years in captivity. Hell, we have too. So it's not going to change overnight. Hell, so I'm pretty sure she don't like some of the things that you do. So, hey, we got to take mind to those things. Read verse 9 again from the top.
Verse 9. And let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap, if we faint not.
If we faint not, man. We'll reap the benefits, man. And brothers and sisters, don't faint, man. You don't want to be like you see a lot of times on YouTube, boy, they can't cross that finish line. Then they have to have the other Edomites carry him over the line. Man, let his behind drop. Hey, he should have practiced more. Let him drop, man. But like you say, brothers and sisters have to be equipped to deal with these things, man. Put in the extra reps, meaning what? Put in extra time to read your Bible, man. Like you said, if you read 2 chapters a day, guess what? Read 3 chapters a day. You have to do what it takes to feel your spirit in this walk, man. You got something? Go ahead. Let's go to the they say brothers crept in unawares, man. Like you say, you know certain things. If brothers and sisters know teachers and leaders, you know a lot of times we address things that happen in the congregation. So we have seen this particular type of spirit. All praise to the Most High God. All praise to the Most High. Hey, we love brothers, but we can't play the games. And I'm gonna tell you, that's why we literally see brothers bounce from camp to camp to camp to camp. We literally see, we get a report on those things. Brother, why you leave IURC? Well, brother, let me tell you, no, them brothers just didn't like me. Oh, really, brother? Really? Them brothers got respect to persons over there. Really, brother? Then as the more you start to talk to them, the more start coming out. People start telling on themselves. Well, brother, I said something about a captain to another brother. Oh, so you was murmuring up at that thing. Then it comes to find out that guess what? Not only murmuring, you're trying to gather brothers unto yourselves. Brother, go out and get it out the mud, man. Let me say, when we left one body, you think we called brothers? Brother, we're leaving one body. Brother, come on over here. You know that brother over there? Hey, brother, come with us. No, brother, alone. I love you, brother. We gone.
But y'all had brothers to ask y'all, like, let me know, man. Y'all leaving up now.
Hey, you right. Brothers ask
I know.
brothers,
Y'all leaving?
please say the word, brother. That ain't no me. You got to go where the spirit is guiding you, brother.
That's right.
I'm gone though. You know, I love the brothers, but I'm gone. It is what it is. Guess what? Didn't even tell Captain Jerubbaal or Maccabees. Like I say, Jerubbaal left first. Hell, I didn't even know it till the end of the week. Like, goddamn, where you at? And I'm up in Wednesday class out in the audience. Gonna take the review. I didn't care because I was gonna be diligent to that thing. But when I see a brother, it's nothing you can do. I mean, it's nothing you can do. So guess what we did? Hey, brothers did, but if they didn't, hey, I was gonna be out there one deep, doing the camera, doing the flyers, teaching at the same time, trying to do the best that I can. But all praise, the Most High God did put us together and eventually brought brothers and sisters and added up to the congregation. But the thing is to go out there and get it in the mud. If you really trust in the Most High God, trust that He will add brothers and sisters unto you. Not you trying to steal brothers out of certain congregations by fair speeches and so forth. Go ahead, Let's go to the book of Jude, chapter 1 and verse 4. Hey, and it happens amongst the sisters too. You know, you may get sisters trying to reach out to sisters. Let's leave. Them niggas is wicked. They're like, damn, sister, what have they done to me? You might want to ask, sister, what have they done to you? Like, you don't just want to follow people blindly, man. You want to make a diligent inquisition into those things. And guess what? You want to help build brothers and sisters up. If brothers are secretly talking to brothers about leadership or about brothers and sisters in the class, what should that brother and sister tell them? Apply Matthews 18 and 15. You don't get that enough. Apply. So, what do you say? Oh, my bad. Brother Yaakov said I got to slow down. He's trying to get all the precepts. All praise God. Jude 1 and 4.
The book of Jude, chapter 1 and verse 4. For there are certain men crept in unawares.
Read that again.
For there are certain men crept in unawares.
So you want to make sure that this spirit is not on you. Crept in unawares. Meaning what? A brother come in, the politest brother you want to see. Shalom, how your day been going, brother? Brother, boy, I just love your teachings, brother. Can we talk, brother? Brother, you like that, brother? Brother, I just like everything about you. That's how brothers come in crept unawares, even with sisters as well. Shalom, beautiful. Shalom, I just love you. I love your dress. How you doing today? Oh, you looking so beautiful. You know, but then secretly trying to gather sisters unto them to guess what? Murmur about leaders. Without, guess what? coming to leaders and addressing those problems. If we see problems, if brothers and sisters see things that's going on that we don't catch, how do we know to address it? We can't catch everything. We look at a lot of things, but you think we're going to catch 100% of the time the things that's going on? We don't know every conversation that brothers and sisters may deal with. So bring these things forward and apply Matthew 18 and 15 so we can diligently deal with the matter according to the scriptures. Read that again, up.
For there are certain men crept in unawares,
Uh-huh.
who were before of old ordained to this condemnation.
And they were ordained to this condemnation. Meaning the Most High God purposely gave them that spirit to, guess what, be deceitful, to come in. Because guess what? He's training you to do what? Watch out for that particular spirit. To see. Guess what? When it shows the instant, brother, come here, let me holler at it over here and wait for the brothers real quick. It's just mighty funny. Brothers never really want to talk to captains. We see that. Brothers don't talk to me. They don't talk to Captain Yari. You know, he ain't dealing with Captain Maccabees or Jerubbaal. Nah, them niggas too damn stern. They gonna see that thing immediately. So if you can't get to us, let me see what brother I can talk to. Shalom, brother, how you doing, man? You talk good, man. Oh, for real, brother? That's how you open them doors, creep there and unawares, and brothers have to be aware of those things, man. I know Rastack over there laughing, man. You have to watch out for those particular type spirits, man.
Because the Most High, with the omnipotence that he has, he could get these things out of the congregation immediately.
Yeah,
right?
my brother said that word, sisters. Damn it.
Yeah, you know, I always look at sisters when I say my big words, and I know don't be right, but hey, Esau got a lot of words that don't make no damn sense. So I ain't worried about it. We're gonna make our new words. But the Most High has the power to what? Purge out all these things, and he does for a point of time. But it's not for him to get it away from you, it's for you to learn from it, right? Let's go to John 17. It's not for him to just to get it away from you, because if he get it away from you, you won't learn from it. Some of us gonna be pulled by it, some of us not, right? And this the thing about it. People don't understand that. When you got free will, the Most High gave you free will. Look, you got an opportunity to either take everlasting life or throw it away, man. But it's gonna be some stumbling blocks in your way. Now you gonna be able to jump over them stumbling blocks, or you gonna stumble over them. John 17. I think 9.
The book of John,
matter of fact, it's like 15. Yeah, John 17 and 15.
The book of John, chapter 17 and verse 15.
Uh-huh.
I pray not that thou shouldest take them out of the world.
So he said, I don't pray for you that I take them out of the world, but what?
But that thou shouldest keep them from the evil.
But it's that you won't get, that the evil won't come upon you. I pray for you that you can beat this, whatever this stumbling block it is. Not that I'm just going to take it from you. If I just take it from you, I mean, you won't learn from it. You won't gain any knowledge from what's going on. But he said not to take it from you, but to what? Make you endure, to help you endure that thing. Man, read that one more time. Man.
I pray not that thou shouldest take them out of the world, but that thou shouldest keep them from the evil.
So he said he prayed for you to win the battle, basically. Not to take the battle from you, but for you to actually win the battle. With what? Brothers and sisters creeping in unawares. Brothers and sisters sowing discourse, man. Sisters' attitudes, brothers not dealing, whatever the case may be, man. You know what I'm saying? It's not that he's taking it, for he could. Like we say, he has the power to do that. But he wants to give you the opportunity to what? Like we say, the wheat and the tares, right? He could get everybody away, but it's shifting with what he's doing, man. So he wants us to see these things and grow from these things. Go ahead.
Let's go back to Jude chapter 1, verse 4. This is another spirit, brothers and sisters, have to watch out for, because this spirit can get you sifted out, by fair speeches. They deceive the hearts of men.
The book of Jude, chapter 1 and verse 4. For there are certain men crept in unawares, who were before of old ordained to this condemnation, ungodly men, turning the grace of our God into lasciviousness.
Into what?
Lasciviousness.
Into strong sexual desire, whether it be spiritual or physical. Read on up.
And denying the only Lord God,
and denying the only Lord God, because the Most High God is commanding us what not to deal in that type of spirit. You know, like I said, he's giving us avenues on how to handle situations that brothers and sisters may disagree with. Bring those things forward. You got some? Go ahead. Give me Psalms. Go ahead. Al.
Well, you can get a precept, man. Galatians, man. What you saying? Galatians 2 and 4. You can precept this with Jude 1. Because these things don't happen. Like we said, brothers laughing because they know it's the truth, man. We know this, the Bible is a true book because these things happen and they happen exactly like it says don't do.
Right.
Galatians 2 and 4.
The book of Galatians, chapter 2 and verse 4. And that because of false brethren unawares brought in.
Because this brethren that come in here, man, no, he come here but for one reason, man. And you can see the spirits on brothers, man. But like we said, we gonna start standing brothers up and calling that spirit out, man. Read that again.
And that because of false brethren unawares brought in, who came in privately to spy out our liberty.
Only reason they came was to spy out our liberty, to see what other brothers are doing, to seeing if they can get somebody to follow their doctrine, get somebody to come with them. Oh, brother, man, you should be on this side. You know what I'm saying? Read on.
To spy out our liberty, which we have in Christ, Yahushua, that they might bring us into bondage.
And that they may bring us into their own problems, man. Because when brothers doing this thing, you already know they're not following the order of the Most High God nor the scriptures. Because we know that you cannot build on another man's platform, right? You can't put a stumbling block in front of your brothers, man, right? Leviticus 19 and 14. So they already in sin, and then they want you to get into their abundance and their sin, what they're dealing with. So we have to watch out for these brothers. This is a precept to that Jude, man, 1 and 4.
That's a great precept too. Guess what? I didn't have that thing written down. I'm gonna write that thing down. Captains, leaders, guess what? We write down precepts too here. That show brothers, guess what? You need to write them down, man. So you can have that thing for the next time. And like we said, what specifically in verse 4, what was the liberty that they had in Christ? Any brother know? What was the liberty that they had?
Free from the law of sin and death.
Yes, and what else?
Sacrificial.
Yes, all praise, like you in the spirit, man. In the spirit. Remember, scriptures are twofold, but you always want to remember the initial context. But that's a great precept that I pulled. Let's go to Psalms 54 and 12. I'll write that thing down. Yeah, Psalms 54 and 12.
There is no choice.
Are you I just heard Amos. I didn't hear the numbers. Because I'm talking about now, it's on the paper. Psalms 54 and verse 12. We almost out of here, brothers and sisters. Psalms, 54 and 12. What I say?
Is it 55 and 12 you trying to get?
Let me see.
Because there ain't no 12 and 12 and 54.
Yeah, we only got 7. We got that new
Revive.
revive.
New revive, revive.
Shots fired at Brother Benaniyah, man. Thanks, Brother Keenan, 55. Yeah. I know what I want. Damn it, you know what I want. Like Razzatop. Praise, Brother Keenan. Read that right quick.
The book of Psalms, chapter 55 and verse 12. For it was not an enemy that reproached me. Then I could have borne it.
Then we could have borne it if we knew it was the other nations. You know, those are the things we look for a lot of the times. Read on up.
Neither was it he that hated me that did magnify himself against me.
Read on.
Then I would have hid myself from him.
Because we can easily see the other nations coming at us. We can easily see something like that. Read on up.
But it was thou, a man mine equal.
A man mine equal. Read on up.
My guide.
Read on up.
And mine acquaintance.
Meaning what? A person of your nation. Mine equal, because guess what? We're above all the other nations. So a lot of times these things be harder to see. I know a lot of times when we come into the truth, we think just because brothers and sisters wear fringes on the border of blue, that they're all holier than thou. And that's not the case. I know a lot of times brothers and sisters got to learn that thing the hard way, but that's not always the case. Remember, all Israel is not of Israel, man. They just not, man. We want it to be like that. All praise to the Most High God. That's what we aspiring to the kingdom. But it's not going to be like that, man. Read verse 13 again.
But it was thou, a man mine equal,
Read on up.
my guide,
Read on.
and mine acquaintance.
Meaning what? Y'all talk together. Y'all acquainted with one another, but then he's secretly sowing discourse. Read on up.
We took sweet counsel together and walked unto the house of God in company.
Meaning what? They're going hand in hand in that thing. Diligently with brothers. But these are some of the things that we must watch out for, even in the truth, man. Like we say, just because we wear fringes, growing a beard, sisters dressing modestly, don't mean that they're always even in the right spirit, man. It doesn't mean that. Give me 1 John 2:19. So one of the main things is not being diligent. Brothers have to watch out for it. Brothers have to also watch out for what? Brothers and sisters corrupted and unawares. Because those things can get brothers and sisters sifted out. First John chapter 2, verse 19.
The book of 1 John, chapter 2 and verse 19. They went out from us.
So guess what? You have brothers and sisters that go out from among us. Read on.
But they were not of us.
Read on up.
For if they had been of us, they would no doubt have continued with us.
So guess what? This is a heavy scripture. If they was among us, they would have no doubt continued among us. So brothers and sisters that struggle with that, hey, just meditate on these scriptures. That's what they there for. Because I know, like we say, we naturally have a spirit to want to love brothers and sisters, especially new brothers and sisters in the truth. And that's the spirit. That's what you should have, but you should have discernment sprinkled together with understanding as well up in that thing. Don't just love blindly around this thing. Read that again, huh?
They went out from us, but they were not of us.
Uh-huh.
For if they had been of us, they would no doubt have continued with us.
And one of the prime examples is going into who? We got Hyphaeus. Let's get that. Let's go to the book of 1 Timothy. Let me get that first. Captain quoting wrong scriptures again. Let's get that. So you have brothers that were among Paul, that were among Christ. 1 Timothy. 1 Timothy 1 and 20.
The book of 1 Timothy, chapter 1 and verse 20. Of whom is Hyphaeus?
Start up to verse 19.
Verse 19. Holding faith and a good conscience.
Start over from the top.
Verse 19 from the top. Holding faith and a good conscience, which some having put away concerning faith have made shipwreck.
So this is the brothers that didn't have faith in the truth. They started out having it, but guess what? They probably let the cares of the world weigh them down, having made shipwreck. Read on.
Of whom is Hyphaeus and Alexander.
So we see that, guess what? Alexander, he was with Paul when you read the book of Acts. I know we covered this a few weeks ago. He was with Paul. Said Hyphaeus and Alexander. Read on up.
Whom I have delivered unto Satan.
Whom he delivered unto Satan. Read on up.
That they may learn not to blaspheme.
So these brothers was doing what? They was blaspheming. So these are even spirits, even back then. It's no new thing under the sun. Paul was strong in the spirit, but even, guess what? Alexander fell out of the truth, man. Let's get another one. Let's go to the book of 2 Timothy chapter 4 and verse 9.
The book of 2 Timothy chapter 4 and verse 9.
And we don't cover this time and time again. Y'all go over these things. Read that out.
Do thy diligence to come shortly unto me. Verse 10.
Yeah, keep going.
For Demas hath forsaken me.
Had forsaken me. Read on up.
Having loved this present world.
So we see what Demas was dealing with. He was what? He loved the world. He couldn't shake the world. A lot of times, guess what? That'll get brothers and sisters sifted out too. Brothers getting sifted out way back then. So if we know way back then, we grow weaker and weaker each generation according to Second Ezra. Well, you know, hey, now we see why. Guess what? It's gonna be 1/3, man. 2/3 of our people gonna be put to death because guess what? They let the curves of the world. Guess what? Take them out the truth. Read on up.
And is departed unto Thessalonica,
Uh-huh.
Crescens to Galatia, Titus unto Dalmatia.
Uh-huh.
Only Luke is with me.
Read on up.
Take Mark and bring him with thee,
Uh-huh.
for he is profitable to me for the ministry.
Jump down to verse 14.
Verse 14. Alexander the coppersmith did me much evil.
Read on up.
The Lord reward him according to his works.
Going into Alexander again, man. The Lord reward him according to his works, man. Meaning what? He walked with Paul, but guess what? He fell out the truth, started to do what? Much evil. Even in verse 1 Timothy 1:20, we seen he started to what? Blaspheme the Holy Ghost. We seeing what these brothers did, man, on how they left this truth and so forth. Like we say, brothers got a whole thing. Staying enduring in this thing. Another one is going into doctrine, man. Doctrine, not having the correct understanding of the doctrine will get you sifted out. Brothers and sisters that struggle with certain things, reach out to the captains, man, so we can go precept upon precept. Take them precepts down, meditate on them things. You may not get it off the bat, but guess what? If you praying and fasting in the spirit, guess what? You can get that. Who need a precept? Yeah, remember?
Trying to get that last precept, 2 Timothy chapter 4, verses 9.
2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 9. You really just get 9 and 10 and then jump down to 14. 2 Timothy showing you how Demas left the truth, Alexander left the truth, Hymenaeus left the truth. Going into, like we say, Judas Iscariot walked with Christ, he left the truth. Let's go to Joel chapter 1 and verse 5. Going into doctrine. Like we say, having a misunderstanding about doctrine, these things can get brothers and sisters sifted out too, man. You get brothers and sisters sifted out. You want to make sure that, guess what, you're going over the things that you are being taught, the things that you're listening to on YouTube, making sure you're going precept upon precept on those things. And if you don't have a good understanding on it, you know, hey, let brothers know. Reach out to brothers, man. Joel chapter 1 and verse. Start at verse 5. We just get straight to the point.
The book of Joel, chapter 1 and verse 5. Awake, ye drunkards.
Ye drunkards is not what? Literal is going into what? Being tossed to and fro in doctrines. Read on.
And weep and howl,
Uh-huh.
all ye drinkers of wine.
All ye what?
All ye drinkers of wine.
What's the precept for wine, brothers? Brothers got a precept real quick, man. Real.
Isaiah, is it 55 and 1?
Let's get Micah 2 and 11 real quick. Praise. Brother Donovan on point today, man. Micah 2 and 1. On point, man.
The book of Micah,
Like,
chapter 2 and verse 1.
uh,
Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds.
verse 2 and 11. Salakia.
Book of Micah, chapter 2 and verse 11.
Uh,
If a man walking in the spirit and falsehood do lie, saying, I will prophesy unto thee of wine and of strong drink,
and of what?
and of strong drink,
Read on up.
he shall even be the prophet of this people.
He shall even be the prophet of this people, meaning what? They're comparing wine to lies and falsehood, meaning doctrines. Doctrines is going into wine because when our people are taken by these things spiritually, they what? They're drunken and they're staggering, meaning they don't know where they're at, not knowing their heritage, not knowing the true understanding of the prophecies. That's what Esau wines does to our people. And we wonder why our people are in a rage. Those are the attributes, those are the characteristics of a person being drunk. You ready to fight, you mad at everything, you can't keep your footing, you can't keep your words straight, you're slurring. Meaning what? You're not giving a correct breakdowns, you're not giving precept upon precept. Give me Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 15.
The book of Habakkuk, chapter 2 and verse 15.
These are precepts for wine.
Woe unto him that giveth his neighbor drink,
Uh-huh.
that puttest thy bottle to him, and makest him drunken as also, that thou mayest look on their
That
nakedness.
thou mayest look on their nakedness, going into their sin. Meaning what? It's not okay for brothers to come in teaching brothers that what you know and we don't teach over here. It says, and puttest thy bottle to him, meaning what? Their doctrines to him, and makest him drunken also. So now brother is carried away with their doctrine, or sister is carried away with their doctrine. That thou mayest look on their nakedness. Now they're looking at a brother or sister in what? In sin. That's what that nakedness is going into, according to what? Oh, praise on down. That's what that's going into. Let's go back to the book of Joel, chapter 1 and verse 5.
The book of Joel, chapter 1 and verse 5.
Uh-huh.
Awake, ye drunkards, and weep, and howl, all ye drinkers of wine.
All you drinkers of knowledge and understanding that's not according to the Bible. Read on.
Because of the new wine.
Because of the what?
Because of the new wine.
Uh-huh.
For it is cut off from your mouth.
So guess what? Because our people love to take on new doctrines and new philosophies, the Most High God has cut off the understanding of this of the scriptures. The wine that we was brought up on, that we supposed to be sipping with. He cut that thing off from us. So it's just like in this truth. Like we say, remember the things that you was learned when you was brought up in this thing. Certain doctrines you may come into more understanding on, but it's not going to just change like a 180. No, you may correct certain things, you know, even like we was talking with Sister Genesis with Ruth and so forth. Brother bring forth the precepts, hey, you know, hey, we all in that thing. And sit down, because I'm always playing angel advocates with brothers on that thing. Brother, what about this? We constantly going through that thing, making sure that we dotting our I's and crossing our T's with that thing, man. Give me another precept. Give me Sirach chapter 5, verse 9. You want somebody? We have to watch out, because these doctrines can, guess what? Stir us away, man. Now you believe in something that's not backed up by precepts. You lean into your own understanding. You lean into your feelings. We cannot do that, man. That's one of the main things that brothers and sisters struggle with in Israel. We struggle about putting up God's commandments before our emotions and our feelings. You get that? Read that out.
The book of Sirach, chapter 5 and verse 9.
Uh-huh.
Winnow not with every wind.
Read that again, huh?
Winnow not with every wind.
Meaning what? Don't go after every wind. Wine is compared to doctrine, and also what? Wind is compared to doctrine as well. Don't winnow at every wind, man. Read on up.
And go not into every way.
And go not into every way. Don't go into these ways that, guess what, will cause you to go off. Who got the precept for wind? Meaning doctrine. Ephesians what? All praise. What you say? You said it too, brother? All praise. Wind is going into doctrine as well. Remember, the Bible talks in similitudes and parables. But this is why Christians, they can't understand. Ephesians chapter 4, verse 14 should be precept with Sirach chapter 5 and verse 9. Read that out.
Winnow, Ephesians 4:14.
Yeah, Ephesians 4:14. Saying the same thing.
The book of Ephesians, chapter 4 and verse 14. That we henceforth be no more children, tossed to and fro, and carried about with every wind of doctrine.
Hold on, we'll slow down a little bit. Start over from the top. Ephesians 4 and 14, precepts with Sirach chapter 5, verse 9. Read that again from the top.
Verse 14. That we henceforth be no more children, tossed to and fro.
And guess what? Like we say, be no more children to where you toss to and fro. Meaning we have to spiritually become adults in this thing. And seeing what, guess what? We know that doctrine is going on. You know it. Read on up.
and carried about with every wind of doctrine.
With every what?
With every wind of
With
doctrine.
every wind of doctrine. Read on up.
By the sleight of men.
By the sleight of men, meaning by the what? Subtlety and by the trickery of men. Meaning what? Brother can be a nice looking brother. A voice like Barry White and the sister just taken by that thing. I ain't listening to a damn thing. He just taken by the beard. This brother got a golden beard. Brother got a Barry White voice. And this brother saying all type of man. I can't. Gotta keep this thing PG. Don't be taken in that thing, even with brothers. Because brothers are, especially in Israel, you know, the Most High God gives us the gift of speech. So brothers can speak very well. You know, but brothers and sisters want to make sure that they're meticulously going through the precepts. See, I got that word right today.
Yeah, don't be gab.
Yeah, don't be hate. Sister Brandy, Sister Hanaya, sometimes Sister Lydia. Read verse 14 again.
Verse 14, that we henceforth be no more children, tossed to and fro, and carried about with every wind of doctrine, by the sleight of men,
craftiness and cunning, read on,
and cunning craftiness, whereby they lie in wait to deceive.
So they wait. A lot of times brothers are patient with that thing. They'll wait, see, may take many weeks. Brothers may leave for months at a time, then just, hey, come back. Brothers got to watch that thing when brothers coming in with them doctrines. Brothers know who we're talking about too. Like we say, hey, if it applies to you, hey, take this thing and grow from it. But like I was saying, hey, if the scriptures fit, you must acquit. You know, this brother Charles, man, up in Capt 101, channeling his Johnny Cochran and stuff. But brothers and sisters must watch out for these particular type of spirits, man. You got some up? Let's go to marriage real quick. Brothers and sisters have to watch out for that too, man, because it's our job in the nation of Israel to have strong marriages. Now we know that the Most High God is going to come into this truth, put trials and tribulations even in brothers and sisters' marriages. You know, but guess what we should do? Apply the scriptures. Even if your husband is not applying, even if your wife is not applying, we must apply the scriptures, man. It's no way around it. It's brothers' job to build their wives up in this truth. They're not going to get the truth like you may have grasped the truth. It's just not going to work. And sometimes you may have strong wives in this truth. You never know. You get there, read this out. Oh, Salakia. Ephesians chapter 5, verse 22. You know, I expect y'all to know that thing. You know, that's a precept that we always bring out when we deal with marriage counseling. Hey, that's a teaching moment for brothers, like we say, on the rise. We eventually, y'all might have to give counseling. Y'all give counseling through what? Through the scriptures and your life experiences. And apply them and filter them through the scriptures.
The book of Ephesians, chapter 5 and verse 22. Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands.
So this is one thing that sisters got to make sure that they're doing. Because like we say, if sisters are not doing that, that's an easy way to get sisters sifted out. That can flex brother's spirit. Hey, that can eventually get him sifted out because he don't have the patience or the long suffering. That's something he's going to have to deal with. But we just letting sisters know these spirits can jump from you to your husband. He's the closest thing with you. So spirits are always bouncing back and forth off of husband and wives. Read on up.
As unto the Lord.
So you want to submit yourself unto your husband as unto the Lord. That's something sisters got to learn to meditate on too. Because if you're not at that level, you need to be trying to, guess what, get to that level, man. You know what comes with submitting, going over what? Sirach chapter 26, like we always tell the sisters. Proverbs chapter 31. Those are good scriptures to, guess what, sisters should meditate to get them in order, even for the single sisters. Boy, maybe you might find a husband. Guess what? You're being prepared to where you're making that easy transition. Read on up.
For the husband is the head of the wife.
And sisters got to understand their roles. I know a lot of times sisters struggle with their roles, even in the truth. We know outside of the truth. Sisters struggle with their roles, and sisters struggle with being submissive and with their mouths. Those are two Three of some of the main things we see time and time again that sisters struggle with. Read on up.
Even as Christ is the head of the church.
So you have to submit yourselves unto your own husband. Read that again up.
For the husband is the head of the wife.
Uh-huh.
Even as Christ is the head of the church.
Read on up.
And he is the savior of the body.
Read on up. So just like Christ gave up his life, that's what brothers' job in this thing is. To be what? Protectors and providers. To lay down our lives for our families. Read on up.
Therefore, as the church is subject unto Christ,
Uh-huh.
so let the wives be to their own husbands in everything.
In some things.
In everything.
In everything. Saying the same thing it says in what? In the book of Genesis chapter 3. Was it verse 16 and Genesis chapter 2, verse 18, saying the same thing. Matter of fact, let's get there. Because we can never go over those precepts enough. Because if sisters are not in order in their marriages, that can cause sisters to, guess what, get sifted out, man. That can cause unnecessary problems in marriages. 3 and 16 verse. Genesis chapter 3, verse 16. These are precepts that go with these things, sisters and brothers. It says, in all things or in everything. Read that again. Read Ephesians, Salaki. Damn it. Genesis. I'm all over the place. Salaki, brothers and sisters.
The book of Genesis, chapter 3 and verse 16. Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception.
Uh-huh.
In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children.
Uh-huh.
And thy desire shall be to thy husband.
Read on up.
And he shall rule over thee.
And this is talking about what? In righteousness, not wickedness, man. Not wickedness. So brothers and sisters really have to meditate on those things if they not there yet. Hey, guess what? You want to be better by this time next year. Lord's will, we're not even up in this thing. But if we are, hey, you want to see spiritual growth in this thing. Jump over to Genesis 2 and 18.
The book of Genesis, chapter 2 and verse 18.
All these precepts are saying the same thing. How that the sisters should be submissive unto their husbands. Read this out.
And the Lord God said, it is not good that the man should be alone. I will make him an helpmeet for him.
I will make him an helpmeet for him. That's sisters' jobs as being wives. You are a helpmeet to your husband. Sisters have to meditate on it. We can't say it enough. Those three precepts, coupled with what? Proverbs 31, Sirach chapter 26. These are things that sisters have to, guess what? Attend to. Go back to Ephesians chapter 5. Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 25.
The book of Ephesians, chapter 5 and verse 25. Husbands, love your wives.
Do what?
Love your wives.
Meaning what? Love your wives by what? Teaching her the commandments. Brothers that are not teaching their their wives, that are not teaching their wives, guess what? Change that thing, man. Because I know a lot of times brothers expect their wives to be at a certain level, but how can she be at their level if you're not teaching her? You can't do that. You can't be double-minded in that matter. Just expecting her. Because I have done that with my wife. I know she's very intelligent, but sometimes I make the mistake of doing that. I don't know. So you have to literally go through the scriptures. Show her what's expected of her. Even for single brothers, this is the thing that you, guess what, prepare yourself for. Like we say, if brothers is not built up strong in the scriptures, should you be looking for a wife? If brothers don't have their own place to stay, should brothers be looking for a wife? Brothers should be, man. I'm going to tell y'all, it's order in that thing. So guess what? You can make the transition into your marriage easier. When things are going outside the line, you have problem upon problem. Go ahead.
No, just and to make a point, like the woman, she is the weaker vessel, right? For brothers that do have wives in the truth, how do you make a weaker vessel stronger?
That's right.
You got to teach them, man. That's the only way you're going to make something weaker stronger, right? Or else it's go diminish. So we have a big point to play in this thing, too. We're getting our wives on. Because we love to say, I know women say, you should just know. You're like, know what? I don't know. So we can't look at them and be like, well, you should just know. I'm expecting you to know that. We can't do that. No, we got to teach them and bring them up as being a weaker vessel and try to strengthen them, man. Because, like I always say, you're on the strongest, your weakest part, your weakest link. So you strengthen your wife up, man. That's a great tag team combo, man.
That's right. And y'all have to fight them spirits together because Satan will
right.
always try to come through what? Through the weaker vessel, through the sisters. So sisters have to extra guard their spirits. And brothers have to be aware of those things too. Let's get it. I was quoting. We're gonna read this thing. Let's go to the book of 1 Peter 3 and 7. I'll pray. Like you say, brothers that are up and coming, these are precepts that brothers need to know on to deal with marriage counseling. Because 9 times out of 10, these are the things that do come up. You know, I know you talk with the captains a lot on how we can make marriages stronger. You know, I know brothers talking with brothers about having marriage counsel sessions and just literally just having sisters and brothers and, you know, really just kind of going through the scriptures on those things.
The book of 1 Peter, chapter 3 and verse 7. Likewise, ye husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge.
According to what?
According to knowledge.
According to knowledge, meaning what? According to the commandments. Brothers got to get out of there thinking, like I said, that she's just going to know. No, go deal with her according to knowledge. Don't let her do things that you know that's going to flex your spirit and you let her do it and you feeling some type of way. We cannot do that. You putting double spirits on you. You can't be double-minded. Plus, that's confusion to the sisters. That's total confusion. Read on out.
Giving honor unto the wife.
Giving honor unto your wife because, Negro, you chose her. I mean, damn. Damn, you chose her. I mean, hey, we just got to be frank. You the one picked her. So now all of a sudden, she this and that. So now if y'all won, Negro, you got to be looking at yourself like you this and that too. Like we always say, a portion, and I used to struggle with that scripture. I always tell brothers and sisters that a portion of a wicked woman is given to a portion of a man. So, hey, it may not be all the way, but you got some portion of wickedness in your behind too. You just always want to say that the woman is wicked. Brother, what the hell are you doing then? So I'm knowing brothers are saying that. I'm knowing you got some little portion of wickedness in yourself too. You know, we have to be honest about those things. Go ahead,
Yeah, because brothers think that they, oh man, I chose me a good one. But the Bible said what the Lord brought together, let no man bring apart. Man, the Most High put every one of you married brothers and sisters together, man.
That's right.
It wasn't inevitable. I think I said that right. If I didn't, oh well, inevitable. It was though. The Most High brought that together, man. So it's not that, oh, you picked a good one or she picked, oh, why I'm with her. The Lord put you with her. He thought that he knew that you could get them spirits or whatever else. So he thought you could make that weaker vessel stronger. He thought that y'all would be a great combination together, man.
That's right.
So you got to make, so what you going to tell the Lord, he a lie? No, not that one. No, not that one, Lord. So you a lie? Nah, I think not, man. We better get these marriages right, man. And that's what we're doing in this camp too, man. Brothers and sisters, man, ain't no falling back. Ain't no, man, I'm jumping the gun. Ain't no, man, you are married, man.
That's right.
As long as man, as long as Romans 7 and 1?
Yeah.
Romans 7 and 1, man. We ain't got to get it. No. But you are bound to the law, man. It's wrong. As long as a man lives, that law is going to that marriage, man. You do this thing in the eyes of the Lord, man. You there.
3. Oh,
7
verse
to
2. Get straight to the point.
Uh-huh.
Read verse 2. Romans 7 and 2.
Oh, yeah, that's right. One is I'm talking to that know the law.
The book of Romans, chapter 7 and verse 2.
Mm-hmm.
For the woman which hath an husband is bound by the law to her husband, so long as he liveth.
Come on, man. Together as long as y'all living, man. Well, what? It's getting that bad. What you thinking about how to kill him now?
Brother, that's murder. Hey.
Come on, man. For real, it gets this bad, man. I'm telling you, Israel. And we have to be the ones that bring this thing to the forefront, man. We are bound to these relationships that the Most High put us in. We didn't put ourselves in these relationships, man. No matter how much you look at it, the Most High put you in that thing. So we got to give him the credit and the honor, like we give honor to the woman that's been, and we can give her that honor as her being there, man. Now it's time for you to give her the more honor and what, and teach her up, man. But anyway, we ain't doing that, man.
That's right.
We in this thing. We locked and loaded, right? Come. I'll praise you.
Let's go back to 1 Peter 3 and 7.
That's why we tell brothers and sisters, man, y'all, come on, man. Please try each other, man.
Got to.
Don't y'all know we still trying wives in this truth? We've been with each other for 5, 10, 15 years, man. The trying don't stop, man. Then you get into a situation, you done already did what you did, and now you want to back out of it. No, man. You did that, man. And you go out to deal with those consequences, man. Or you go get your butt up out of here, man.
Man, for real.
And that's straight up, man.
Because when you don't want to deal with it, you doing what? You tempted the Lord by God. We can't play with that. Most you thinking you gonna know the judgment he gonna put on you. He'll probably just cause me to just be away from the camp a little while. Nigga, you don't know that, man. Like, come on, man. You don't know. He can literally take the truth away from you. Then you go back to being bugged out on the streets like how we used to, man. He put any type of spirit on you, man. Read this.
The book of 1 Peter, chapter 3 and verse 7. Likewise, ye husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge.
According to the commandments. So if it's arguments that come up, go to the law. Stop using your feelings. Feelings have never won with the most. Feelings ain't never won a spiritual battle, man. I don't know if brothers and sisters know that. They don't win spiritual battles. Read on up.
Giving honor unto the wife,
As
unto the weaker vessel.
Read on up.
And as being heirs together of the grace of life.
So y'all heirs together. Read on up.
That your prayers be not hindered.
Because if y'all not doing those things in that order, your prayers can be hindered. Most of God won't hear you. Read on up.
Finally, be ye all of one mind.
Read that again up.
Finally, be ye all of one mind.
So the Bible is commanding us to y'all to be what? All of one mind. The way she's thinking, y'all should be on one accord. The way your husband thinking, each one of us, y'all know y'all husband, man. Y'all know what he like and y'all know what he don't like. Husbands know, you know what your wife like, you know what she don't like. If y'all ain't got to that point, hey, y'all really need to be doing some soul searching on that thing, man, and some communication. Read on up.
Having compassion one of another.
Read on up.
Love as brethren.
Read on.
Be pitiful. Be courteous. Not rendering evil for evil.
And it's the thing we have to focus on, not rendering evil for evil. Because many times in relationships, hey, your wife say something out of order, brothers just got to say something back. We're rendering evil for evil. Sisters should all automatically know what? Sirach chapter 26, verse 14. And that's something sisters gonna have to meditate on too, because I know it's hard. You got your husband steady shooting shots at you, you just like this. Ooh, just I got to say something, but that's a test. Most I got seeing if you can check your spirit on them things, man. Read on up.
Not rendering evil for evil, or railing for railing.
Read on up.
But contrarize blessing, knowing that ye are thereunto called, that ye should inherit a blessing.
So guess what? We're doing these things to build ourselves up. It's gonna get greater later. In the kingdom ain't gonna be no fighting. Everybody gonna know their role. We're gonna know how to automatically keep the commandments. Everything is gonna be good, man, during that time. Give me Amos chapter 9, verse 9. Like I said, those are some of the main things, and there's many other things. I just picked some of the main 4 spirits that brothers and sisters deal with a lot of the times. For real, exactly. Amos chapter 9 and verse 9.
The book of Amos, chapter 9 and verse 9. For lo, I will command and I will sift the house of Israel.
Read 8.
Verse 8. Behold, the eyes of the Lord God are upon the sinful kingdom.
When he talks about the eyes of the Lord, what is that going into? Angels. The angels, the Most High God got the angels everywhere, seeing all the wickedness that this nation is doing, and he's seeing the wickedness of our nation that we're doing. Read on up.
And I will destroy it from off the face of the earth,
You don't want to be in that number. Read on up.
saving that I will not utterly destroy the house of Jacob.
When it said he would not utterly destroy the house of Jacob, what is that going into? That's right, up. The 2/3. Meaning what? It's going to be a 1/3 that will be saved. Read on up.
Saith the Lord, for lo, I will command, and I will sift the house of Israel among all nations.
Among who?
Among all
So
nations.
we're scattered amongst all nations, like Brother Barakati was going into last night. We're scattered amongst all nations. So he's going to sift us out from among the nations. This class is, guess what, being sifted out of this truth. So you got two sifting, sifting into the kingdom and being sifted what, out of the kingdom. Read on up.
I will sift the house of Israel among all nations, like as corn is sifted in a sieve. Yet shall not the least grain fall upon the earth.
So you want to make sure that you're the least grain that's not going to fall, man. You want to make sure you do that these things, but guess what? Making sure you're diligent, making sure you don't let doctors come in, making sure you don't let having strong marriages, having brethren crept in unawares, all these different type of things. You don't want these things to happen to cause you to fall from this truth. Read on up.
All the sinners of my people shall die by the sword.
Shall what?
Shall die by the sword.
Read on up.
Which say, the evil shall not overtake nor prevent us.
Go ahead, up.
Give me Isaiah right quick, 30 and 28. Can precept this, man, with Amos 9. How the Most High is going to sift this thing, man. But it ain't going to be all sweet, man. Start at 27.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 30 and verse 27. Behold, the name of the Lord cometh from far, burning with his anger.
Burning with his anger, read on.
And the burden thereof is heavy.
It's what?
Is heavy.
It's heavy, man. Read on.
His lips are full of indignation. And his tongue as a devouring fire.
Say, well, he got two tongues. I say, man, that's tough. His tongue. So like I read on.
And his breath as an overflowing stream.
What shall it do?
Shall reach to the midst of the net.
To do what?
To sift the nations, which the sieve of vanity.
With the sieve of vanity. It's going to sift the nations with the sieve of vanity. A lot of times, like you say, brothers and sisters, lead this truth because they got a lot of vanity on them, man. And that's just be straight up, man. Vanity going into what? Your own personal thought, your own gain, wanting to be seen, right? Brothers dealing with, just going to bring it out. Brothers left this camp. And a lot of brothers I talked to said, I don't see nothing wrong with that brother's vision. I'm not following now one of you brothers' vision. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm following the Most High God's vision. The way I follow the Most High God's vision is looking in the scriptures. That's right. I'm not following a man's vision anymore. I did that too much time in my life. But that's vanity. He said he goes sift the nation with the sieve of vanity. That's that little vanity sieve. Like, oh, let me get that vanity. Who got that vanity on them? All the ones got that vanity, they're going to get out of there. The ones that ain't, we're going to keep them in there, right? With the sieve of vanity. Read on.
And there shall be a bridle in the jaws of the people, causing them to err.
And what is a bridle or a bridle? Brother, no. Yeah, and what do you when you want to get the horse to go, so what you do? So that pride is gonna get their butt out of here. It's gonna cause a lot of brothers and sisters to err and be sifted out of this truth, man.
It said causing them to err. Most I gotta go purposely do that.
That's right.
That's a heavy scripture right there.
It is, man.
That thing heavy.
Causing them to err, become, man. So y'all make sure y'all precept that with the Amos, man. 9
Yeah, that's right. That's a good precept. What else, see, brothers in the spirit, man? What else can you precept that with? I'm gonna read verse 27 again. Behold, the name of the Lord cometh from far, burning with his anger, and the burden thereof is heavy. His lips are full of indignation, and his tongue as a devouring fire, and his breath as an overflowing stream. Shall reach to the midst of the net to sift the nations, the sieve of vanity. Any brothers can think off the top of the head? Any brothers, man? Going into Second Ezra, chapter 13. Second Ezra, chapter 13. We got to get there right quick. Man. That thing,
Yeah.
Second Ezra, chapter 13. And verse, we just gonna get straight to the point. Yeah, you already know.
The book of Second Ezra, chapter 13 and verse 10.
So verse can precept that with that. Read that.
But only I saw that he sent out of his mouth as it had been a blast of fire.
Going into Christ when he comes out to scatter the nations in World War III. Read on.
And out of his lips a flaming breath.
Hey, what?
A flaming breath.
Read on up.
And out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests.
Read on up.
And they were all mixed together. The blast of fire, the flaming breath,
Read on.
and the great tempest.
Read on up.
And fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight.
Read on up.
And burned them up every one, so that upon us a sudden of an innumerable multitude, nothing was to be perceived,
Read on up.
but only dust and smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid.
That thing heavy right there. You know, so Christ ain't coming back playing. He's gonna be speaking the word and literally killing people at the same time. Go ahead, you got something?
Nah, that's it, man.
Let's get this last precept. Give me Psalm 65 and 4. If you get there, read that out.
The book of Psalms, chapter 65 and verse 10. Thou waterest the ridges.
65 and 4. Verse 4 and 9. Yeah,
Verse 4. Blessed is the man whom thou choosest and causes to approach unto thee.
read that again.
Blessed is the man whom thou choosest.
It's blessed is the man who the Most High God is going to choose. You don't want to be that brother that's sifted out. Read on.
And causes to approach unto thee.
And that's the thing. You want to be able to approach unto Christ to be able to what? To receive your kingdom, to receive your crown of glory, to receive how many kingdoms you're going to rule over. That's the thing that you want to stand in awe of. And if you just making it to the kingdom, all praise. If you're not of the 144,000, read on up.
We shall be satisfied with the goodness of thy house.
And guess what? You'll be satisfied. Guaranteed you'll be satisfied with the goodness of Christ's house, the goodness of the Most High God's house. Read on up.
Even of thy holy temple.
Even of the holy temple, because those things will be rebuilt in the second coming of Christ after he's destroyed and put down the nation. Read on.
By terrible things in righteousness wilt thou answer us.
Read that again.
By terrible things in righteousness wilt thou answer us.
Meaning what? Being out there correcting us the right way, giving us the understanding by terrible things in righteousness. Meaning what? Some things you ain't gonna want to hear, but it's gonna be in righteousness. You need to hear the correct ways. Read on.
O God,
Oh,
God of our salvation, who art the confidence of all the ends of the earth, and of them that are afar off upon the sea.
and guess what? That's going into our people. That's what scattered to the four corners of the earth. Is that it on that? And with that, we say shalom. We always tell brothers and sisters to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. Make sure brothers and sisters are sharing, liking the videos. And we say we have about 50 brothers and sisters in the congregation. 50 shares on that thing. Make sure brothers and sisters are pushing this truth. You never know who is on your timeline. Like we say, that's a part of doing the work too. We doing the work online. You know, like we say, you never know whose spirit might cleave to it. So these things are very, very important for brothers and sisters to do, man, in this walk. That's also how you put it up, the work. And we say we always tell brothers and sisters to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. So we love to bring out laws at the end of the class. Let's go to the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 22 and verse 22.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 22 and verse 22.
Uh-huh.
If a man be found lying with a woman married to an husband,
Read on.
then they shall both of them die.
Because we hear sometimes only a woman can commit adultery. That's not the case. A man can commit adultery as well as a woman can commit adultery. Read that again.
If a man be found lying with a woman married to an husband,
So this is the sister is married, the brother ain't. So a man can commit adultery. Read on.
then they shall both of them die. Both the man that lay with the woman and the woman. So shalt thou put away evil from Israel.
So guess what? The Most High God wasn't playing in those times because that put evil away from our people. That was literally showing them, and guess what? The Most High God is not playing. A lot of times, brothers and sisters need to see that example. That's why I said rebuke before all, so that they may fear. So when they literally did that and rebuked and actually killed them, it put fear in brothers and sisters not to go in that particular scene. And with that, give all honor and praises to Yahweh, to his son Yahweh Shah. Shalom. It was kind of long class.